Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley. Heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
What's up, good people? What's up? Ready to get it in, get it started bright and early. Like I said on the last show, I normally will be playing a song right now, but we're doing this monetizing thing. Well, actually, this one more than likely will not be monetized. So I probably should just play the song to give people some time to make it on in here. But be that as it may.
To Dave Rubin of the Rubin Report. That's another guy here on YouTube. Head on over to his.
Uh-oh. That was Mumia Obsidian Ali. Had some little audio hiccups going on there. But be that as it may, we got a good Ali. Had some little audio. Oh, we got a lot going on because I'm getting some audio feedback. And that was my fault. I should have talked to. We're gonna get this right. Obsidian, are you there?
Hey!
All right, there we go. We got Obsidian. I didn't I was running late, scrambling, trying to get the show started. I didn't talk to you in the back to make sure you was ready. So that may have been my fault. But
yeah,
either way it go. We got it now. We on the same page right now, and got a good show going on for the people today. Oh wait, before I get started, and hold on, I gotta mute my audio in the background. All right, now we should be good going forward. And let me do what I normally do and give a shout out to the early bird squad, the people that make it in bright and early to drop a comment before the show officially starts. I appreciate all of you. And so right now we got to go to Stoic One. Salute to you, the Mac the Trucker in the building. We got LF Third, DJ Moss in the building. Salute to you, Naima Buckner. Good morning. Got DC Williams says he's working and listening. That's what I like to hear. Where you work at to where you still can go to work. Most people not working. That's interesting. Let's see. Naima Buckner says, please share, like, subscribe. Please like, share, subscribe, and support the platform. And as she's saying that, she showed her support of the platform with the super chat. Thank you very much for that super chat. Naima Buckner says, congratulations. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's see who else made it in bright and early. We have Sugar G. Good morning to Sugar G. Salute to my man Kenny Conjo. Says, salute, Brother Riley. Thursday morning greetings, everyone. Peace and good health. I'm going to shout out maybe a few more as we waiting for people to come in. Really quick. Let's see. JBM93. All right. Leo Anthony D. Anderson. All right. I think we got it. I was up at night trying to put together a good show. I had a late night, so I was trying to put together. GA Boy, I see you made it in there. What's up, GA Boy? Trying to put together a show. I had another idea on the table, something that I was going to do, and then I just out the blue got a little a Derrick Jaxn video popped up on my screen, and I was like, okay, let me go ahead and watch this Derrick Jaxn video. So I watched it, and it was his most recent video. And after I watched that video, I watched the next video. So I watched, basically, I went into a little wormhole of Derrick Jaxn videos, and I was like, okay, gotta do some content on this shit, because I just heard so much stuff. Now, I ain't here to bash the brother, put the brother down, or kick dirt on him. I know Obsidian don't mind doing that, and we're going to go to him in a little bit.
Come on, man. It's all just good fun. It's all just good fun.
But what I'm analyzing here, is he giving good advice or bad advice? We're going to analyze the level of this advice. Now, I would
argue that he gives neither.
We'll get into that.
Or bad.
We'll get into that. We
will definitely get into that.
we got it
all into that.
Oh yeah, but no, we're gonna go video by video. We're gonna analyze. I watched his last 10 videos. It was hard. It was brutal, but I took one for the team. I went down in the trenches for y'all to dig up all this bad advice, so I could try to give it to you all. I went down into the trenches for you. So we're gonna go video by video. We may only get through 5 of them because I know it can be tedious. But wait, we might make it through all 10. We'll see. But going forward, real quick before we get into that, because I already got the screen shared up there on Derrick Jaxn's page, and we're just going to click on that first video. Before we get into that, I have to salute Harry Allen with the $20 super chat. Thank you very much, Harry Allen. He says, greatest morning show on YouTube. Glad to see the old man in the house. Absolutely. Because when I came up with the idea of this show, right when I was done watching those videos, I immediately sent Obsidian an email late at night. I was like, you got to come on. Like, who better than Obsidian to pick apart these videos with me? So there it is. That's what we're going to be doing here today. But while I get ready to queue up that first video, I do want to talk to the old man real quick as I get these Derrick Jaxn videos ready to go. Well, they already ready to go, but as I pulled them up, I do got to say, Obsidian, you've been killing it with the pre-recorded daily podcast. You've been just dropping on us, man. I've been greatly loving just sitting back and enjoying that. That's been a treat.
Wow, thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it feels good to be back and doing the what got me to the big dance to begin with was the daily podcast. I'm having a lot of fun and really appreciate it. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now you went live on Mixler, and when you went live on Mixler yesterday, because I know Mixler used to have some buffering issues. It was none of that going on.
No, I was pleasantly surprised. I was stealing myself for that possibility that we were going to have the usual crashes and that sort of thing. But no, I was pleasantly surprised, very pleasantly surprised that didn't happen, and so hopefully that trend will continue. Everything was flawless yesterday.
Yeah, it was perfect. So yeah, hopefully we'll be definitely staying tuned with that, because as we know with the Black Avenger, well, FS Avenger is, unless you got money like Google and YouTube and all of that, it's putting on a live streaming platform is serious business. It takes some serious dough, and we see even Mixler, that a platform ran by, as they call it, the white man. It takes a lot to get it to get that fine-tuned machine to run and operate right. So hopefully whatever problems they were having, they got that fixed, and yeah, you can start back banging them right out live over there along with the pre-recorded podcast. I love it both either way.
Yeah, and then I can do my my Zoom casts. I can go ahead and do them whenever I want to do them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully the trend will continue. We'll see.
Yep, we will see. But all right, we got to get into the topic, the man of the hour, Derrick Jaxn. We're going to start with this first video. We're going right down the list, and keep in mind when I'm analyzing this bad advice, or some people might think it's some good advice. Obsidian says it's neither bad nor good. I think it's just empty words. I think that's where Obsidian's going to go with it. But
yeah, there's that, but it's something more than that. We'll get into it.
Okay. All right. So let's go video. I didn't cherry pick videos. I literally you see the 10 videos on the screen. Those are the 10 that I'm analyzing. The first 10 up. But let's go. And we're probably going to see a commercial.
The Game of Thrones, you win or you die.
Team Jaxn, what's happening? So I've been doing live chats over the last few weeks with various people, man. And one of the questions that keeps coming up is are men intimidated by fill in the blank types of women? strong women, independent women, successful women, you name it. And the truth is this: most men in general are intimidated by women that are above average and know that they're above average. And
Okay. Now, first things first, when you're talking about men intimidated by strong women, to the best of your ability, what does he mean when he's saying strong women? Because one of our first one-on-ones we did with each other was titled "I Can't Handle a Strong Black Woman." So we laid out what we thought a strong woman was. Typically, when they're talking about that strong woman, they're talking about that strong-willed, yes, but that often manifests, as far as a relationship goes, that tends to manifest itself in a argumentative, combative, bitchy woman.
You mean a bitch?
Yeah. There. You said it. So yeah. So let's. I don't know what to. Starting right out, just when he throw out the word strong woman, what the hell do we do with that? But we're going to keep it moving. But I just feel like that's a term that has not. I think has been defined by us. It has not been defined properly by the people who like to use it all the time.
Well, all right, so let me jump in here and say this. Okay. And Derrick worked in sales, so he would know better than most what I'm about to say and lay out. When you're trying to sell a product, good service, and let's face it, when you're on the open mating market, you're selling yourself. Just like if you're in the labor market, you're selling yourself, you're selling your skills and things of that nature. Your product isn't what you think it is. Your product is what your intended target market thinks it is. So, so let's. He just got finished saying a woman that's above average. You know who gets to determine if a woman is above average in this case? It's not women. It's men. You are what your market says you are. That's just basic, marketing 101 here. You are what your market says you are. Your market determines your worth. Your market determines your value. So you can say all you want that you're above average, but if your market doesn't agree with that, then you have a fundamental misalignment here. I mean, if we're gonna, again, he worked in sales. I know sales. I never worked in it to the extent that he did, but I know sales. And I'll say this, as a successful businessman, I can tell you, you are what your market says you are. If your market doesn't think that you're worth that, whatever that may be, then you're not going to get that. So the real issue here isn't whether men are intimidated or not. The real issue here is whether men, and we're talking about black women, black men. The real issue is whether black men think black women for whom it applies really are above average.
Triple T kill. They says, so first off, thanks for the $10 super chat, but Derrick Jaxn is giving black women that eating a whole box of ice cream at 2 a.m. advice. That don't jump. He's giving them advice to
I agree with them. Yeah. Everybody knows me and Mr. C Boogie have been going back and forth. And again, all in good, clean fun, right?
Right.
And he said something recently that I 100% agree with. He said Derrick Jaxn is leveraging his sex appeal. I agree. And that's what he's really offering the ladies. He's offering the ladies a fantasy that they will be able to get their own little Derrick. Now, we know the chances of that happening. I mean, Atara, Dallas, anyone. We know the chances of that happening is, slim to none. We all know that. But, we got to keep hope alive. We got to keep hope alive. And so that's what Derrick Jaxn does for the ladies. Because let's face it, many of them are pathetic. They are. I know because I was there. I've seen it firsthand. Many of these you listen, if you're lining up, if the highlight of your weekend is paying money you ain't got to go listen to a guy tell you bald-faced lies, you're pathetic. You are. I mean, imagine if brothers lined up, right, to go hear Amber Rose, talk pick-me-shit shit to them.
Ooh.
Think of how pathetic that would be. 1,000 brothers packing a hotel ballroom, and not just a one-off event. This is a whole fucking tour. Think of how utterly pathetic that would be, ladies. You don't need me to tell you.
The only way, hold on real quick. The only way she could get 1,000 guys in there to do that, if she's gonna be on stage, it's gonna be a pole, and she's gonna be dancing. Because then we going in there, we know exactly what it is. We ain't trying to lie to ourselves about.
But see, that's just it. This ain't going to a pole, and doing this sort of thing. She's actually sitting there on a stage doling out, quote unquote, advice.
Yeah, fully dressed.
I would say it. I mean, going to see a broad get on the pole, to me, that's not pathetic because that can be genuine entertainment.
Yeah, it's not my thing, but I understand the entertainment value. I've been in a strip club before.
Yeah, but that is genuine entertainment. This ain't entertainment, man. I mean, it's just straight up pathetic. If the highlight of your weekend is going out to do this sort of thing, now please understand me. Don't get defensive, Georgia boy.
Uh-oh.
I'm not saying Derrick doesn't have a right to do it. He does. I'm not saying black women don't have the right to go and see him. They do. But let's call spade a spade. It's pathetic. It is.
Well, based off the comment section, when you look at his videos, they say, facts, straight facts to everything that he's saying. So in their head, he's giving good advice. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to analyze whether or not this is good advice or bad advice for women. So
but see, here's the thing. Here's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
With that, before we go any further, let's assume, for the sake of argument, that this sage advice is on the money.
I take it you use air quotes when you said sage advice. And anyway,
yeah, exactly. Let's assume that's true. Let's assume that that's true. Again, you still got to think about the market. Where are you going to go to get these guys, man? Where they at? You see, I understand markets. That's why I've been able to do what I've been able to do under conditions that, to tell you the truth, most people just couldn't make it under the kind of working conditions that I work under. But I'm able to thrive because I understand my market. All the self-love in the world ain't going to help you when you're cold at night, ladies. Where are you going to get the guys from? If assuming everything that Derrick is saying is true and they're saying facts, okay, great. So all these guys are intimidated by you. Guess what? They don't buy. Intimidated guys don't buy. Defensive guys don't buy. Hood off guys don't buy. They don't. So where you want to get the guys from? Where they going to come from?
Right.
See, that's the beauty of my business. And see, I understand that. And this is the problem with Derrick, is that at some point he's got to deal with us. Sooner or later, I mean, he could stave off the inevitable. He can do that, but at some point he's got to deal with the guys.
Yeah. All right, I gotta dig back into this tape. We got a lot of videos ahead of us to analyze, so let's try to get back into this tape.
I ain't going anywhere. I'm here for the duration, so go right on in.
Yeah, okay, all right, yeah. So that's good. Where was I? Aha, there we go. Couldn't find where I was at. So okay. So he said, well, I just rewind a little bit just so we can get the full context. He was talking about Let's see.
Strong women, independent women, successful women, you name it. And the truth is this: most men in general are intimidated by women that are above average and know that they're above average. And both are equally important. I'll explain that in just a minute. But it's not so much even the woman that's intimidating. It's the things in a man that has to change, that has to grow and develop in order to love that woman correctly. You know, the bad habits he has to break, the indulgences of the world he has to detach from, all of that. And when I'm talking about an above average woman, I'm not using metrics like her looks or body count or kids or whatever. I'm more so looking at.
All right.
Let the tape run a little bit, because I want to. Now I know exactly what you're getting at, and we're going to deal with it. But I want to hear what should be looked at, what should be overlooked. I want to.
Yeah, I watched it, so I know what's coming. Okay, all right. I'm gonna let it run. I think. Okay, I trust that the audience is sharp enough to understand what was completely wrong with that statement, with him naming looks, whether or not she's rather or not she's fucking everybody, whether or not she got a trail of babies behind her, and what was the last thing? Let me just get that last thing.
Using metrics like her looks or body count or kids or whatever. I'm more so looking at the ways that she's invested.
So when he's talking about an above average woman, he's not talking about a woman that has good looks. He's not talking about a woman who has good moral character as far as, you know, her sexuality. And he's not talking about, he says her having kids, that don't matter either. Yeah, single mothers are for grown men only, or whatever he said in his first book. I just wanted to highlight that bullshit before he say the things that do matter. All right.
Into herself, like to become the version of that she is now, count or kids or whatever. I'm more so looking at the ways that she's invested into herself, like to become the version of that she is now, the ways that she's denied herself. Because one big misconception is that good women, or whoever we consider as good, they don't have the same temptations and urges as the average woman or everybody else. And that's not the truth, at least in my experience. I found that exceptional women, they get horny by guys that they find attractive, just like the next woman, but they have a different standard on their body. So not just anybody can get access to them. You know, those, like,
you see how he contradicted himself?
Of course.
You
Derrick Jaxn is one big, huge. He's a huge 6'5", 250-pound walking, talking contradiction. He is.
He's trying to make. This is how you know when somebody is selling bullshit, when they try to put it in a way to where it's catch all, to where it can apply to anybody. He made an argument saying that basically, if you a hoe, you're okay. That's not a knock against you. But then he praised the women who are non-hoes. It's like he trying to make sure he cover every base, so to make sure he don't leave no stone unturned, to make sure that he could sell, to make sure as many people could buy what he's selling as possible. That was a huge contradiction when he said what makes a woman above average is her body count has nothing to do with it. But then when he says, but those above average women, they have the same temptations and they have to pull away from it. Yes, that's what an above average woman does have to do if she want her value to stay high. She has to pull. She has to not do some of the things that the women that go out there lowering their value do.
I would like to address, because I knew it was coming. I don't know if it's Mr. or Mrs. L. Boyd. Y'all kind of sound like haters, to be honest. Why? Are you saying that Derrick Jaxn is above reproach, Mr. or Miss L. Boyd? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying that he is unassailable? He's infallible? Is that what you're suggesting, Mr. or Mrs. L. Boyd?
I can answer that one easy by quoting Derrick Jaxn, because when Derrick Jaxn went after Charlemagne over something that Charlemagne the God said, I think I said the name right, over something Charlemagne said, one of Derrick Jackson's, because Derrick Jaxn did a little interview with Charlemagne. It wasn't on the Breakfast Club. It was on some other little channel that one of Charlemagne friends, you do a co-host show with some guy. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, Derrick Jaxn was on that show, and the co-host said he felt like Derrick Jaxn was either hating or clout chasing or whatever. And Derrick Jaxn responded by saying that no, he don't think nothing is wrong with somebody coming after somebody for the things that they're saying, long as they're staying on the merits of the points that are being made. And so that's where I'm at with it. I'm analyzing whether or not he's giving bad advice or good advice.
Well, by that, okay. So there's what you just said about his interaction with Charlemagne. There's that. Now I want to bring in an interview he did last year. You can see it on the Roommates podcast. He did it July of 2019. And he says, and it's toward the beginning of the interview, he wanted to spark a conversation about these issues being the state of mating in Black America today. See, one of my problems with Derrick is that he's not precise, and that's not by accident. You want to know the reason why people have problems with me? Because I'm pinpoint precise. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's no wiggle room for interpretation. When I talk about black female fuckery, you know that I'm talking about black female fuckery. And so on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, my point is Derrick's own words means that he's not above reproach, that he can be analyzed and criticized like all of us. So for Mr. or Mrs. Boyd to say, you guys just sound like hating. I mean, I have no problem with you disagreeing with what we're doing, Ms. Boyd, but my question to you then is, why are you here? Why are you here? I mean, that's an honest question. I mean, given the state of social media today, just on YouTube alone, we don't have to even factor in Facebook, Instagram, etc., etc., etc. There are so many options for all of us. I mean, I'm a big fan of Questlove, one of the Soulquarians, The Roots, and he's been doing live streaming here on YouTube. And he's been getting this from his, people in the chat room on his channel. Why don't you play this? Why don't you play that? And all the rest of it. And he said, well, if you don't like what it is that I'm doing here, there are a whole lot of other DJs out there that you can get down with. And I agree. So I don't have a problem with you disagreeing with us, Ms. Boyd. That's fine. I would much rather you laid out your disagreement in detail instead of just merely saying they sound like haters. Why? Why?
All right. Moving forward. Like I said, the title is Derrick Jaxn giving good advice. We're analyzing the advice. So where I'm at, if you think that our analysis of his advice, if we say we think he just gave bad advice because of A, B, C, and D, then okay, explain why it was good advice. We're just analyzing the advice. And it's nothing wrong with that. If I get on here and I talk for 2 hours and I got a video sitting there with, I got some videos sitting there with 2,000-3,000 views. If somebody want to make a response video breaking down in detail what I said was why, what I said and why it was wrong, I have no problem with that. And nobody should have a problem with that. You shouldn't have a problem with somebody saying that you're wrong. Now, if I was just up here saying, man, fuck Derrick Jaxn, that bitch ass motherfucker. Okay, all right. Then yeah, okay. I can get that. But I'm just analyzing whether or not this is good advice or bad advice. That's all that's happening here. All that's going on. All right. So I don't even know where he's at. I'll just back up a little bit.
By guys that they find attractive, just like the next woman, but they have a different standard on their body. So not just anybody can get access to them. Those like exceptional women, they want to let that X back in because familiarity, it breeds comfort. But they know that they deserve better than the same old bullshit again. Exceptional women, they also want to be friends with more people than just 2 or 3. They want a bigger circle. They want more people they can call whenever they want to have fun. But they can't let just anybody in their circle because they don't want to pollute their energy. So they set different types of boundaries. They want to go out every weekend too. Maybe not to the club, but they want to go have fun, but they lock in on their goals and they focus because they're trying to break generational curses of poverty and so on. Like that type of woman, who she is on a personal level and what she brings to a relationship makes her above average. And you cannot bring mediocrity to that type of woman.
Okay. Well, I think we finally got a definition of what he considers above average. He's basically saying who she is as a person and what she brings to a relationship. He talked about everything that she did to work on herself to become that person. And those are the things that make that woman above average. And that is what he's talking about when he says men are intimidated by above average women. And then he stated at the beginning that how a woman looks, how she carries herself in terms of sex partners, body count, as he said it. So her looks, her body count, and whether or not she got kids from those guys that she ran up the body count with. None of that makes a difference as to whether or not she's an above average woman. So that's the image here. So let's just get an image of a woman who's attractive. Let's just get an image of a woman who's not only attractive but has, restrained herself when it came to going out there having sex with a lot of guys. She's hot, she's attractive, she's 25, and she doesn't have any kids, and there's not a bunch of guys who could say that they've had her sexually. That woman, as far as her market value out there, is extraordinarily higher than a woman who's less attractive and not trying to work on it, because I am, sensitive and understanding of the fact that, hey, some people are born with less physical gifts. If somebody is just not that facially attractive, but hey, they work out and do the best they can to look as best as they could possibly look. I criticize men who criticize those women.
Why?
Because if she's taking the time to try to look as best as she could possibly look, if her beauty is maxed out, she can't get no more in shape. She can't. Okay, I mean, there is surgery, there's facial surgery, but I'm just saying, if she's doing the best she can with what she has to work with, that woman gets a pass. If she's maximizing her potential. Some women have dime potential. Some women, they max potential may very well be a 6, but she could gain weight and not give a damn about herself, or don't take care of her hair, or have a bunch of kids by a bunch of dudes and drop that 6 down to a 2. Okay, we can criticize that. But if her max potential is a 6, then I'm not going to criticize her for being a 6 if she's trying. But the point that I'm making about Derrick Jaxn is that he's taken looks, body count, and whether or not she got kids off the table, and basically just saying all of the things that she did in her preparation to become who she is, whether or not he didn't exactly say education, but he's talking about everything that a woman.
I didn't hear specifics here. I heard specifics about what he's taking off the table. Okay, fine. So I want to hear, in lieu of all of that, what specifics has she put on the table? I'm still trying to make a valuation of that, and thus far he hasn't given any us specifics. Exactly what are the things that you're putting on the table to replace those things we've taken off?
You know what? You're right. He was vague, and I just plugged in the spots where he was vague. He got me. he tripped me up on that one. You're right. He really didn't say shit.
Do you see what I'm saying with regard to Derrick now?
Yeah, he's not giving good advice or bad advice. He's not saying anything.
See, Mr. L. Boyd and Mr. Georgia Boy have to understand something. I study my quarry. I study them very well. I analyze them sometimes for months, sometimes for years. I know their move sets. I can predict with unerring accuracy what they're going to do, when they're going to do it. And I'm going to prove it in today's show.
All right.
So, as I said, Derrick is not precise. And that's on purpose. And you're hearing it right now. If the argument is that she's above average because of her education, all right. Then my question becomes, fair enough, where did you go to school? If it's not in the top 10 of the U.S. News and World Report, then no. As far as college grads go, you're not above average. If you didn't go to a Stanford, a Harvard, a Princeton, a Northwestern, a University of Chicago, no, you're not above average. Then I have to ask, okay, what was your SAT scores? What was your LSAT scores? What was your MCAT score? Did you graduate magna cum laude, summa cum laude? I mean, because if the answer is no, then no, you're not above average. Barack Obama can say he's above average. Why? Because he was the first ever black president of the Harvard Law Review while he was at Harvard Business School after graduating Columbia University. By definition, he's above average. By definition. So, I mean, let's put the education on the table. Where do you rank in terms of education, ladies? It's right there. We don't have to speculate. All you got to do is go to the U.S. News and World Report rankings. And that will tell you if you're above average or not.
Well, with me, I'm not into. That's not something that I would nitpick about, because the more important issue is that does that education, is that the thing that makes that draws men in? And that's what these.
Hang on. We're going to take that. Now, I mentioned that earlier, but we're going to take that and put that on the side, because let's just get right to it. Black women want to dictate to black men what they should find attractive.
Exactly.
Black women. All right. I'm easy. So we're going to do that. We're going to put the education on the table. Where'd you go to school? Let's rank it. U.S. News and World Report. We can empirically settle this matter. Let's look at your college transcripts. We can settle it.
Yeah, I understand that that's a jab at a woman who's if a woman is bragging about her education, but she has a degree in I don't know, the little social work degree or something.
And there's that degree. We haven't even got to that yet. We haven't even got to what's your degree? What did you major in? See, if you majored in the humanities, you're not above average. If you majored in STEM and you're a Black American, you're above average.
Well, it could be argued because most people don't go to school. Don't go to school. Most people don't get a bachelor's degree. So
that's true.
It could be argued. It could be argued that they're above average just because they got a bachelor's degree, but that has nothing to do with their market value when it comes to dating. And that's why. Hold on, real quick. That's why he took looks, body count, and whether or not they got kids off the table and tried to bring up something that they do got. And I understand the argument. The thing that they do got, it isn't even exceptional in the ranks of that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So I get that part.
To be sure, education and mating success are correlated. And that one doesn't cause the other, but there is a strong correlation between the two, even among Black Americans. So there's that. But that being said, however, to say I'm above average because as a Black woman, I hold a college degree and most Black Americans or most Americans, period, don't have a college degree is not saying a lot. It's not saying anything. Obviously, you're going to be better than somebody that doesn't have a college degree at all.
Yeah, I mean, you're better at.
And that's the reason why I mentioned the U.S. News and World Report college rankings. You are judged by your peers, not the people who ain't your peer. So, okay, ladies, those that agree with Mr. Jackson, fair enough. Then I'm thinking that you're in the top 10. You went to Harvard, you went to Northwestern, you went to Stanford. Right off the rip. If you ain't talking that, you're not above average. You're not. And you just might be below average. U.S. News and World Report. Go.
All right. Let me deal with GA Boy's comment real quick before I roll the tape. He says, fellas, you will never know a lady true body count. So why is that a conversation? None of us know how many bodies your lady has. We all may be with a former hoe. That is true. However, you're saying that, but you know good and well, you more than likely won't marry a woman if you knew she was a hoe. So that's why, to me, that argument does not make sense. It's true that you will technically never know, but in this world of social media and people talk, I mean, sometimes a woman can get away with it in a big city if she knew in town, but if you got a circle of 10 friends and you meet a woman and you and that 10 friends, y'all can get in a circle and her name can come up and 3 of them know somebody that fucked her, and then something, you know, if her name, if it's 6 degrees of separation of a bunch of dudes who you know then put their dick in that woman, you ain't trying to marry her. So I feel like you're making a disingenuous, that's a disingenuous argument. It does matter, but there is an element of it. If she could somehow pull it off and be discreet about it, then it won't affect her, and that's fine. It's so in that sense, is how you present yourself. But if you ain't presenting yourself like that, if it's you know, 10 guys in the same city can get in a circle and her name can come up and get circled around, and a lot of bodies could get pinned on her. If not, somebody in that 10 guy circle can, you know, that it lowers her value.
Okay.
And not to mention the kid.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do.
It's silly.
Because I don't recall Derrick specifically. See what I did there? Specifically talking about this body count thing. I might have missed it, but let's assume that he did.
I can roll it back. No, he said it at the beginning of this.
All right. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. Let's take what you just said off the table and put something else on the table that, especially in the time we're in right now, everybody should agree is important: your health. We know that the more sex partners you have, the higher your chances for contracting an STD. So I don't have a problem with you being a free-spirited woman, right? My concern is for my health. Would you agree to attend with me a full STD screening, my lady? That would be my question to these ladies. Would they be willing to attend a full health screening? We both get tested, full battery of STDs. Would that be fair?
I honestly think people should do that anyway.
But see, we have to go together, and then we have to read the results. The results are known of each other together.
No, that's what I meant. I literally meant, yeah, people should go together, especially if 2 people are about to get to the point to where, you know, the relationship has been going for a while. They're going to be having unprotected sex. Maybe she's on, hopefully, you know, she's on birth control. If the condom is coming off, she should be on birth control. But she could be on birth control, but still give you chlamydia. So once y'all get to that point to where y'all having raw sex, yes, y'all should be able to walk down there, walk into the clinic, holding hands, and get tested together. Yes, I agree.
Now,
100%.
here's the interesting thing. I have done just that with women in my life, and not one of them has taken me up on it. Not one. Black women now. College-educated black women. White-collar professional black women. Not one has taken me up on that offer. Not one.
All right, let's see. Let's get back to the tape. Where was I? Over here, right there. All right, let's get back to the tape. I'll go back a few seconds just to make sure that we're not missing what he was saying. But no, where we left off, he wasn't being specific about what makes her an above average woman. He took some important stuff off the table and was very non-specific to the things that made her an above average woman. But then he's going to tell us, I believe, how we're intimidated by this above average woman that he didn't exactly describe what made her above average. So, yeah, okay.
They're trying to break generational curses of poverty and so on. Like that type of woman, who she is on a personal level and what she brings to a relationship makes her above average. And you cannot bring mediocrity to that type of woman and receive king treatment in return. And every man wants to be treated like a king. But you can only bring mediocrity in terms of broken promises, inconsistency, in terms of few and far between dates, in terms of trash dick, in terms of no creativity, in terms of blurred lines of respect in a relationship. You can only bring that to a woman and receive king treatment if that woman is average or above average and does not know that she's above average. Or as the cliche goes, she doesn't know her worth, because that type of woman is not going to hold a man accountable for that. She feels like she can't get better outside of him. She feels like if she don't have him, she'll never achieve her relationship goals. Nobody else is going to want her, etc. So as for like an above average type of woman, the only man that can handle her, and by handle, I mean elevate her, because that's what he's going to be looking to do, is a man that welcomes challenges in his life, the challenge that she will come with. Why? Because he's already been challenging himself while he was single. He's already been growing and dying to his old self. He's already been on the exact same type of time, waiting and preparing for the right one, the same way that the woman that is above average and knows that she's above average, to the point he's gotten bored with what the dating scene offers in terms of the typical woman. Now,
all right. Now, I don't know if you caught that. He slipped in there that above average woman is going to challenge you, and she's going to challenge you. And that guy who's made for that above average woman, he's going to be okay with that challenge because he's already challenging himself. So if a woman is challenging him, it goes back to that strong woman that he mentioned in the beginning. You see how he's kind of circling back to that, and we tried to define what the strong woman was, and you said it really short, just a bitch. But the strong woman, and normally when they're talking about that strong woman, they are doing it. You can't handle a strong woman. They're basically saying you can't handle that argumentative, combative, pushy, disrespectful woman. That's what they're talking about. And now he's talking about that woman who's that above average woman who's going to push and going to challenge you, and you're going to have to rise to the occasion. Remember that that story? I think it was on Fox News, where that woman, it was a black woman on Fox News. She was saying that because women, we're successful and we do this, and they have to rise to that occasion. So he's low-key smuggling that back in there, how he's talking about that, that woman that's going to, ultimately, badger and push a man to do this or do that or blah, blah, blah. It's like he's basically taking attributes that men typically don't like and turning it around and saying, that's that above average woman. You can't be mediocre around that above average woman. It's a weird thing that's going on there with that one.
Well, that was an interesting word salad, and
yeah, it was.
And so let's wade through it. Number one, I'm not a king. I have no desire to be a king. Kings and the idea of royalty is anathema to me. I am an American through and through. And I believe in, rule by consent of the governed, not rule by divine right of kings. So, we the people, that's what I'm down for, where any man can rise, for that matter, woman. And with that being said, what I want to be treated like is, in this case, a black man on my own merits, not on the actions of, as Music Soul Child once famously said, previous cats. See, black women have a very nasty habit of doing that. I wish to be judged on my own merits, not what some other nigga does or did to you. So that's number one. Number two, my thinking is this: if you're a black woman that's above, water seeks its own level. Black women don't like to hear that. If you're a black woman that's got her act together, why do you need to challenge anybody? Shouldn't you attract a man that's got his act together and y'all just do the damn thing? Or is this really about having control over somebody? See, a lot of black women secretly want a fine ass nigga they can boss around. Bars Cujo, anyone? Yes, dear. That's what a lot of black women really want. They'll never say it, but that's what they really want. They want a fine ass nigga that they can boss around. They want their own little version of, back when I was a kid, they had this toy called Mr. Matter of fact, they even made one for girls, Miss Potato Head. They had Mr. Potato Head for the guys, and then for the girls, they had Miss Potato Head. A lot of black women want a fine ass Mr. Potato Head. You know, they can dress him, they can, they have him go over here and have him go over there, and, and make him do what they want him to do. And, see, I think we missed something with the sex bot piece. I think that there could be a market for, the jawline nigga bot piece. And no, seriously, we could make, if we could get the AI right, and it doesn't have to be sophisticated, Lieutenant Commander Data Star Trek 24th century level AI, because let's face it, black women can't handle can't handle smart, competent black men. They don't want that. Nobody has accused Derrick of being a dazzling intellect. Nobody, including black women who claim to love him. So let's be honest here. If we could put together a jawline bot, a jawline nigga bot, and give them a basic AI, black women would love it. Do you disagree?
The jawline nigga bot. I think that's going to be a commercial coming up. That's going to be pretty soon. We're going to hear now a word from our sponsors, and you're going to have that commercial on deck.
Speaking of which, you just reminded me, we do have to take a minute out for our sponsors because it is 59 minutes past the hour. So let's listen to this. And now a word from our sponsor. This exciting episode of the Obsidian Radio Zoomcast comes courtesy of the Masculine Energy Clipper Kit. From the makers of Masculine Energy Drink and the Masculine Energy Body Wash. Now comes the all-new Masculine Energy Clipper Kit. That's right, fellas. Just in time for the Rona, you won't have to worry about getting your dum-dum game falling off due to not being able to get a fresh cut at the barber. All you have to do is reach for your Masculine Energy Clipper Kit. The all-new, all-in-one system of maintaining that LL Cool J knockoff of a baldy. Here's what you'll get in your Masculine Energy Clipper Kit. The clippers itself, duh. All the usual guides, brushes, oil, and that dorky looking thingy that you drape over yourself, and exclusive only to the Masculine Energy Clipper Kit. 3 chamois cloths to shine up your baldy. Go on ahead with your bad self, bro. Get your self-improvement on for real with the Masculine Energy Clipper Kit. Now available at all the usual fine retailers, or call 1-800-BALDY today. The Masculine Energy Clipper Kit. And thank you.
Thank you. Glad we had that word from the sponsors. Got a salute to the super chat from Caesar D1. Says, I don't care about her body count as long as her past stay in the past. I will never ask, but if she had an OnlyFans page or tapes, etc., then no. My not wife material. not wife material. Let me keep smashing like the next man and keep it moving. And that's more or less what I was saying. If she in some way, shape, or form has wore it on her sleeves that she was out there like that, and everybody know it. You know, some people done ran a train on her, but you walking holding hands with her at the mall. That's just, it just looks goofy. It just looks goofy. But anyway, but thank you for that super chat. And also Terrence B sent a super sticker. Thank you very much for that as well. And before we get back to the tape, GA boy, damn it, GA boy, I hated to do it, but your wrench is being temporarily suspended because, you know, Obsidian is up here on the panel when you drop in comments like Obsidian want to be 6'5" so bad. I was like, I mean,
no. Give him his wrench back. That's what he thinks. I've never wanted to be 6'5".
I know, but it's
and as for being handsome, that's in the eye of the beholder. I mean, isn't that what we're always told? Isn't beauty in the eye of the beholder? I mean, how is it that Georgia boy knows what all black women everywhere think forever and ever? Amen. Is he a psychic? Is he a clairvoyant? He's got these imbued with the powers of the Force. I didn't know he was a Jedi Knight. I knew he was a white knight. I didn't know he was a Jedi.
Well, my thing is, if we're up here analyzing whether or not Derrick Jaxn is giving good advice or bad advice, to just is he's doing what women do, in that I call it bumping the chess table. We got a game of chess going on, and Sister George do this all the time. She come by and try to bump the table with her hip and knock the chess pieces over, and hope that we don't know where the chess pieces are at when we try to pick the pieces up and put them back together. Okay, I got to remember. Okay, where was the rook? Okay, my queen was right here. You know, the game is already set. All right, we got the chessboard is the pieces are where the pieces are. They're just trying to distract and knock the pieces over. That's all they're trying to do.
So I want to go back.
Hold on. He trying to make us talk about whether or not you're jealous of Derrick Jaxn because this person is more select than you, or such. He's trying to deflect it from whether or not Derrick Jaxn is giving good advice or bad advice, just so he could try to make the conversation about whether or not, you know, you got a personal problem with select men, and that ain't what we're here to discuss. And that's why I felt like it's...
But here's the thing. See, what Georgia boy and others of his ilk don't understand is when you do that, you're admitting that you've lost the argument. When you have to resort to making personal attacks instead of addressing your interlocutor's arguments, you've admitted that you've lost. When the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser.
Yeah. So if I make a statement or Obsidian make a statement, I want to hear from GA boy. Why are we wrong in what we're saying? Not whether or not Derrick Jaxn is taller than Obsidian. Like, come on.
Or speculating about my motivations. See, that's an ad hominem attack. Instead of dealing with my argument, let's try this again. All right, Mr. Jackson, your argument is that there are types of black women who intimidate types of black men. All right. We're going to take looks, a black woman's physical appearance, her number of children, and all connected to that, as well as her sexual past, off the table. But what do we put on the table?
And he's not specific about that.
Now, we can speculate. Since he didn't, you know, see, here's the thing. When you're not precise in what it is that you do in a public forum, then you leave it open to interpretation by others. See, that's the problem you run into. Then you can't be mad. And I know you see, I know you've seen this happen, Bernard. Someone will make a remark in black social media, Facebook, Instagram, what have you, and they're not precise. And then others come in and speculate and run with their own interpretation. And then the original person will come back and say, well, no. And y'all got it twisted. I meant this, I meant that. Well, if that was true, you would have said it from the beginning. Why are you doing it now on the back end? So since Derrick didn't make it clear what he meant by what makes a woman above average, we're left to speculate. So let's put education on the table. Let's try this again. Where'd you go to school? The U.S. News and World Report rankings, highly respected. Okay? If you're not in the top 10, are you truly above average?
Excuse me.
I mean, that's the question I would have for any black woman who believes that their education makes them above average. All right. Where'd you go to school? If it's not in the top 10, it's not top 10 medical schools, not in the top 10 law schools, not in the top 10 journalism schools, not in the top 10 theatrical schools, seminaries. Where'd you go? What was your SATs? What was your LSATs? What was your MCATs? Magna cum laude, summa cum laude. If you didn't do those things, are you, a groundbreaker like Barack Obama was? Otherwise, you're not above average. You're not. By definition, objectively, you're not.
Great Britain, thank you for that super chat. Super chat, I appreciate that. He said, got a question, a man who thinks he knows all black women. GA Boy says, so select fuckboy is not slander. If the title of the show today is Derrick Jaxn, a select fuckboy, I think you would have some grounds there. It's titled, is he giving good advice or bad advice? And we're analyzing the advice. So for you to try to take it back there just means that, again, you're trying to bump the chat. You're trying to bump the table during a chess game to knock the pieces over and hope that we don't remember where the pieces was at. So you're trying to fuck the game up. That's all you're doing. You're bumping the table with your hip to knock over the chess pieces. You're pulling a Sister George. So come on.
I know it's painful, Georgia boy. I know. So can we continue?
I'm just saying, it's one thing to not like to hear black women criticized, but you don't like to hear the advice that somebody is giving to black women criticized. Like what? I don't understand that. All right, I'm just gonna play the tape.
Hang on. Before we go any further, I want to further explicate what I was saying.
Okay.
So we do know one black woman who is truly above average on the metrics of education. As a matter of fact, she would be above average, another very above average black woman in this regard, Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama went to Princeton. If I'm not mistaken, Miss Oprah Winfrey went to Tennessee State University. Princeton, by definition, is far above Tennessee State. By definition. She had no problem getting a Harvard law grad in Barack Hussein Obama Jr. So my question becomes for these ladies who hang on Derrick Jaxn's every word, if you're so above average, like a Michelle, then where's your Barack? Because clearly she did it.
The Mac the Trucker, thank you for that super chat. I did miss that one. That one must have scrolled up somehow on me, but thank you very much. He said, Jawline by Derrick Jaxn 1000 Special Edition. Thank you very much for that super chat. I got a couple more people to shout out on that super chat. Let me see. I already shout out Great Britain, and I'm scrolling on down the line. Third Degree Burn said Obsidian Radio number 2 is correct. And my man Keith Lamont said cosmetology degree from DeVry. Yeah, be a lot of that going on. Let's see. All right, that's it on the super chats. We only one video in. This is crazy. But let's get back to the tape. Let's get back to the tape.
That type of man and what he's attracted to, what he's looking for, what mentally piques his interest and stimulates him. If you want to know all about that, I go in full detail about it in my book, Don't Forget Your Crown. And the sale that I extended for 50% off is going on still, but it ends soon. So click the link in the caption if you haven't yet. But all in all, instead of looking at, what kind of woman a man is intimidated by, because that's not always so obvious, I say look more so at what a man is excited by. That's going to tell you equally as much about him. And if you come across a man that is excited by voids in a woman, the type of voids that you don't have, so those women get attention that you don't get, then understand this. that type of man is only going to come into that woman's life and make that void even bigger. He's going to make himself at home in that void because he attaches the value of his presence directly to the pain that he can cause her based on her brokenness that was there before he even got there, as opposed to a real man that attaches the value of his presence to the way that he can align with a woman's purpose, because that's what he plans on pushing her closer to. So,
whoa, okay, a lot of word salad in there, but did you get how he said a man? He basically put the man in, I would say, the feminine position, saying that the man is going to get with the woman that he can align with her purpose and push her to that purpose. So do you see? I'm only analyzing whether he's giving good advice or bad advice.
Wouldn't that fall under the category of struggle love?
Yeah. Yeah, it would. But more importantly, if we're talking about people in a relationship, the person who should be seeing the vision or getting in line with the purpose of one, it should be the woman seeing the vision of the man and getting in line with his purpose, and more or less, helping or supporting, support. I got to be careful with the word support, because I mean, I'm not talking about a woman financially supporting a man. I'm just saying whatever his cause is, she's she's behind him, so to speak. He basically put the man in a feminine position to where he needs to get with whatever her purpose is. He's going to get in aligned with it. Basically she's leading, he's following, he's getting in line with her purpose, and he's helping push her to her purpose. So this is so he's talking about a woman that has at least, purpose and goals and all of that. But then he says in other videos that a man should be paying 100% of the bills while pushing that woman towards her purpose. But he's still supposed to be doing 100% of the masculine role, 100% of the man role. But this woman clearly isn't in a position to do 100% of the feminine role, because he's talking about the things that makes her great and who she is, that makes her above average, is all the other things that she's bringing to the table that has nothing to do with her looks, her beauty, her femininity, her submission, her and all of that, rather than that she don't got kids and willing to be ready to be a good mother to your kids. So he's basically talking about a guy pushing a woman towards her goals, her purpose, her strong, independent stuff, the stuff that make women say they strong, independent, don't need no man. He said,
yeah, but wait a minute. I thought they were already self-starters. Now you need somebody to help you get started?
It's some really backwards advice when he's telling men, saying that the man who's right for you is going to align himself with you and your purpose, not the other way around.
That was there before he even got there, as opposed to a real man that attaches the value of his presence to the way that he can align with a woman's purpose, because that's what he plans on pushing her closer to. So if you're the type of woman that's intimidating men, don't trip. You ain't missing shit that you need in your life. I promise you. Now, let me know what you think in the comments. And again, don't forget your Crown book is 50% off for a limited time.
So he's saying that real man is a man who's going to align with that woman's purpose.
Okay.
Push her to it.
Not a problem. My question stands. If you are above average in the way that Michelle Obama is, she got her Barack. What's your excuse, ladies?
Let's see. Great Britain sent another super chat. Only purpose I'll push is push her into a kitchen. Oh man. Thank you for everybody who's sending those super chats. And I almost forgot to do this. Said become a Patreon, join the team. Those are my newest Patreons right there, scrolling across the screen. The Solo Traveler is the last one who became a Patreon, and Harry Allen, the only one who came in at that $25 mark. Gotta give a special shout out and salute to Harry Allen as much as possible. Appreciate that, brother. Now, going forward here. We dug a lot out of that video, but that was
and I strongly suspect we'll be quite a bit more out of the rest of the videos.
Okay. Why guarded women? This video is called. Well, we're gonna have to hear
I was crying.
a commercial
My
here.
daughter come to me and ask, "Mommy, why are you crying?"
Team Jackson, what's happening? So,
Real quick, hold on. Somebody else sent something. Mr. Shane Vicious says Jackson has a future in the black. Oh yeah, a future in the black church if he wants. A lot of truth to that. A lot of truth to that. All right.
I was just talking to my little homie from the crib, man. I say little, but dude probably like 26, 25, 26, like mid-20s right now. And we were just kind of chopping it up about how we all kind of had that phase when we were playing games, you know, as guys or whatever. But now he's out of that phase, you know what I'm saying? And now he kind of represents the type of guy I talk a lot about in terms of having his shit together, not just financially, but physically and mentally, spiritually, all of that stuff. Like he's totally out the game for good. He's come across a woman that he feels very strongly about. They've been dating about 3.5 weeks. Took her on all these dates. They talk every day, hours every day, all of that stuff. He's ready for a healthy relationship and one with this woman. Only problem is she's kind of like stalling him out. At least that's what he feels like. And he's trying to figure out why. She's a beautiful woman inside and out, like exceptionally beautiful outside. And she has the personality and character to match, but he just can't make sense of why she doesn't want to move on in a healthy relationship, even though they both have said that's what they want and to eventually be married. He was asking me, like, is it the 90-day rule? Is because she got some other guy on the side? You know, it's a kind of red flag she's seeing, even though he's doing everything he's supposed to be doing, and he is legitimately who he said he is. And I told him like this, man, like 90% of what you just told me, I told him, 90% of what you just told me as to why you think she's stalling you out is all ego and insecurity. You know that.
Now with this one so far, I know you want to let it roll. I know you want to let it roll, but I got to pause. Right
Actually, there. I don't, because I mean, it's like at least thus far in his dissertation, it's an alien concept to me. Everything he's saying is alien.
Why you say that?
I just cannot, assimilate anything. He's talking to his little homie and he's got his act together. I got my act together when I left home at 18. I left home at 18 and never looked back. I graduated in June, started work in July, did that for the next 22 years nonstop. So I was doing that at nearly a decade earlier than this guy. And I worked in a physically demanding job by definition for 22 years. So, and as for the woman stalling me out type of thing, that's never happened to me. So I really don't have, at thus far, not much I can really weigh in on.
Right. Now I'm damn near forgetting what I wanted to push pause for on that one. But what happened here is the guy that he described is looking at this woman who is essentially stalling him out. Sounds like giving him the runaround. Everything is looking good. Everything is sounding good. The right things are being said, but she's pushing back, so to speak. Now, I want you to keep in mind, because we're going to talk about how much he contradicts himself. When it's the other way around, when the woman is on the hot seat or the man is on the hot seat, he has a completely different response to that guy who's stalling out a woman, who's presenting all the right things, showing all the right things. It's a completely different thing. Completely different response. But I want the audience to listen to what his response is when he's talking about the guy who's feeling like this woman is leading him on. She must got somebody else. She must be just using him for time and attention and all of that. That's essentially what the guy is saying in this scenario. But we're gonna see forward. We're just gonna move forward and see exactly what is he saying is actually going on here.
If she's taking her time, it's got to be another guy. It's got to be a mind game. It's got to be some kind of power play. And the truth is, when it comes to women that are guarded, they're not showing any red flags. Like they're not, bitter, hateful. They're not still hurting or hung up on the last guy. They don't live a lifestyle that's like an embarrassment to you if you were to get in a relationship with them. They're just keeping a level of detachment that keeps them from going all in emotionally or into a committed relationship at this moment. When you're dealing with that type of woman, 9 times out of 10 is because she's seen this before. She's seen what you're presenting before. Especially when you're talking about a woman who society finds sexy and attractive. Of course, she doesn't create the bad intentions men come to her with, but she knows like what she comes with is hell of a bait for those types of guys. So she's not playing around with that, but she's seen the good act before. Even if it's not an act, she's seen the good intentions that can turn inconsistent in a relationship. She's seen whenever it is an act, and then the mask comes off once there's a baby or there's marriage, or the guy just feels like she's all in emotionally too much to easily leave. Most important.
Now, everything that he's saying is like we damn near got to put a pin in it until the next video. Because if anybody watches Derrick Jaxn videos, they know his response, his playbook when the guy is cautious and apprehensive, because he's seen things that women have done. He's seen women, change up after a baby. He's seen women do all kinds of stuff. The men have seen all of that, and all of the excuses or reasons that men have for being apprehensive or cautious about rushing or jumping into things. All of that is thrown out the window and tossed to the side when it's a man being guarded or pulled back or not quite not all in. We're trying to progress this thing forward towards a relationship. But when the guy is seeing a woman being like that, oh, no, that's just your insecurity. You're just insecure. This woman has legitimate reasons why she's guarded, but a man's legitimate reasons, seeing as he, in some cases, could have more to lose if the relationship really gets going and goes all the way there. But that's an interesting dynamic in the advice or lack thereof that he's given. But I want to play this one out. But we got to sort of put a pin in everything because he's going to contradict himself right in the next video. And we're going with videos that were made right after each other.
Guarded women have seen themselves and what happens to them whenever they give themselves to a guy in either of those situations, how hard it hurts. Like a lot of people think it's all about logic when it comes to relationship, but when you're talking about a woman that can go all in, or a man, when you're talking about somebody that goes all in emotionally, it surpasses logic and reasoning and rationale. Like they don't give up even when they're supposed to give up. Even though in their mind they know they're supposed to give up, they don't give up until they really just cannot give any more to that situation. So, of course, after they learn that about themselves, they go forward in a more careful fashion. They're not just jumping in any situation. And when you talk about no red flags, that is a red flag, that you want what you want. And if you don't get what you want when you want, you considering how there must be some type of bad intention associated with this woman. That probably is something that she's already peeped. And
now keep in mind how many times he's given advice to a woman that wanted a relationship from a man and she didn't get what she wanted when she wanted. And notice how his argument changes when that's the other way around.
You talk about no red flags. That is a red flag, that you want what you want. And if you don't get what you want when you want, you considering how there must be some type of bad intention associated with this woman.
Because if the guy not giving the woman what she want, he's going to pull out all the bad intentions of the guy. But if the guy wants a relationship and the woman does not want to do it, he's not going to acknowledge that, okay, one of the possibilities is that this woman could be playing game. This woman could be talking to multiple guys. This woman could be on, as they call it, the cock carousel. This woman could be doing all kinds of extracurricular bullshit and just got this guy in the queue wasting his time because she's not really interested in him like that. But no. He's spinning it around. Oh, she's a guarded woman. She's protecting her heart and her feelings and this or that. But when it's flipped around and a guy who also has things to protect, you're gonna see how the advice changed. He just ain't done being a hoe.
Yeah, I you know what? I gotta hear all of this.
Okay.
Before I
that probably something that she's already peeped.
All right.
And says, you know what? He ain't got the muscle for the type of shit that I'm on for a long-term healthy relationship. If he can't go 2, 3, 4 months without getting me in my fullest emotional capacity or physical capacity, or whatever he's looking for, hell, that's going to happen in a healthy relationship. For everybody out there, I want to put y'all on game. When you talk about a long-term relationship, there are going to be times where, you know, that person that you with is depressed. That person that you with is suffering anxiety. That person that you with is uncovering wounds that they didn't know they had whenever they came in. That person that you with doesn't always feel sexy. Or maybe they not actually as sexy as they used to be. They might let themselves go for a couple of months. I don't know what happens. Like, anything could happen where you're not getting the same type of person or the same version of the person that you first came in with. And there are going to be times where you ain't the same version of the person that you came in with. And they're trying to adjust to ways that you need to be fully loved and properly cared for, in which there's a disconnect in the meantime. So if you're ready to bail out in the dating phase because you're not getting everything that you want when you want it, what you think going to happen whenever you're in a relationship and you actually hurt? You may not bail out of the relationship, but you're going to bail out within the relationship. You're going to open doors that shouldn't be open. You're going to shut down. You're going to lash out. So somebody who's already been through that fire before, yeah, they're going to take a little bit more time to see if your impatience is going to cause you to weed yourself out. Now, even once you get past that threshold of dating into a relationship with a guarded woman, there are specific ways that you have to love her and care for her in order to further establish yourself and your intentions and who you are and make her feel secure in the relationship. I go into full detail about that in my book, Don't Forget Your Crown. So if you want to know more about that, click the link in the caption. I just extended the 50% off sale. But all in all, the message is this, man. When you're dealing with a woman, even if you are legit and you out the game and you ain't come to play, you ain't trying to be toxic or problematic, and she's still saying, you know what, I need you to keep your distance emotionally. It's not that she don't recognize a real man whenever she sees one. It's that she looks in the mirror and she sees a real woman and she knows she can't play with that. So she can't give herself to somebody else who's going to play with that. So she may need a little bit more time to know that you ain't playing. So y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Again, don't forget your crown.
Or she could be just gaslighting.
All right.
Good man. Well,
All
doing bullshit. But
this is what I have to say
right now.
This is what I have to say to the little brother. You need to read the book of Obsidian. Okay? It's very simple. Actuaries have told us that the average black male lifespan in the United States today, coronavirus notwithstanding, is about 72 years. Okay? He's 26. So that means he's got, help me with the math, a little over, 45 years, thereabout, 40-something years to go.
Mm-hmm.
My question to this little brother is this, and this is what I would say to all the young guys in his age range. This is what I would say to them. How much time do you think you actually have? Assuming you have a full life. Remember, nothing is promised to us. We got the coronavirus, and it does affect black men more than black women. We know that. How much time do you think you have? As somebody that's, in his 50s now, I've got at least 20 years on Derrick. Trust me, time is precious. I'm not telling you to, do anything. I'm just asking you to think about how much time do you have? The average black male lifespan today is about 72 years old. Do you really want to squander it on a woman that ain't ready to go all in when you are? That's what I would say to that young man. And that he definitely needs to check out the book of Obsidian when it drops. By the way, Bernard, did you know that I'm writing actually 3 books now?
I heard you talking about it. I didn't hear all the details. I thought I heard you mention the Book of Obsidian Volume 2 or something like that.
Yep, it's being written as we speak. And I also have another book that I don't want to go into the specifics, but I'm working on another book. As a matter of fact, I'm gathering all the notes for it. I'm gathering all the notes for it right now because I'm going to get, down to business in June. I plan to write it in June and July and knock that out. So this coronavirus thing has been actually excellent for me because it's giving me the opportunity to write not just 1 book, but 3. So, and that's what I would say to the young brother with regard to Mr. Jaxn. Now, Not to say that what Mr. Jackson said wasn't legitimate, but just to give him an alternate take. See, I deal with facts. I deal with evidence. You only have, at best, on average, 72 years in this world. Do you really want to squander it with a chick who ain't ready to go all in?
Yeah, and I think that's good advice. But we're going to see in the next video, which is titled "Mixed Signals Don't Exist." So he went from, well, actually, the mixed signals video he did first. So he's talking about mixed signals, but then he's talking about why guarded women are worth the wait. But that guarded woman was sending mixed signals. But when he's talking about the mixed signals, and in this video, you're going to see how he changes up the whole argument, because now it's the guy either being extremely guarded or sending mixed signals, or whatever we're going to call it.
Most common reaction to a birth arrangement.
Before you roll a tape, let me say this, because I'm glad you brought this up. And I talked about this. I did a recent interview with Game Changer, and I brought it up then, and I've also written about it. I'm going to write more about this point. So I'm glad we're dealing with this. Let me go ahead and do this right now. My personal opinion is that a lot of Black Americans have a view of mating that we view mating as if it's a civil rights issue. In other words, there was a time in American life when our forebears had to deal with tremendous oppression and mistreatment, no doubt about it. And it took a civil war. It took, massive protests and legislation and laws being passed and changing our hearts and minds to address that. But Black Americans haven't moved on from the 1960s. We're in the 21st century physically, but we're emotionally and psychologically still in the 1960s. And we have a view of mating that comes closer to an affirmative action and come closer to the EEOC than it does to the idea that mating by definition is very personal, and therefore by definition cannot be legislated. Not in the way that we do it here in the United States. Now, if you want to do it the way, say, Indian society does it, or African society does it, yeah, you can have people come in and mediate that way. But in the United States, it doesn't work that way. It's very personal. There's nothing fair about it. There's nothing equal about it. By definition, it's subjective, it's personal, it's individual, and it's flighty, and it's inconsistent. You cannot apply, the United States Congress to this. You can't do a march on Washington to get folks to find, dark-skinned Black women attractive, or whatever. I mean, it doesn't work that way. So my point is this. This is going to sound strange. I don't have any problem with Derrick having a two-tier system. If he wants to say one thing to Black men, and he is addressing Black men in that last video, that's fine. And if he wants to address another thing to Black women, again, I'm okay with that. The question is, going back to the previous video, the question is, again, according to actuarians, the average lifespan of a Black American man today is about 72 years. It's completely up to you how you decide to spend it. It's up to you. Personally, the reason why I just can't personally relate to being stalled out by a chick is because I'm not going to allow that to happen. She may indeed be a good human being, but she ain't good for me at that moment. I'm moving on. I'm in this world to live my best life. That ain't just for black women, it's for black men too. And if she's not ready to roll, I'm moving on. That's how I'm looking at it.
All right. Fair enough. All right, let's get to this third. Oh shit! Now I got the sound off.
I was just looking through my DMs, man, and
all right, we haven't said number. All
Team
right,
Jaxn, what's happening? So I was just looking through my DMs, man, and probably over the last 20 minutes, I noticed the common denominator. Anytime there's a subject of mixed signals, something you're trying to figure out, don't know what he mean by this, don't know what he mean by that. I realized something, man. I don't really know if mixed signals exist anymore. I've been one to talk about it, and I get the concept. You know, he acts one way 1 second, acts another way the next second. He says one thing, but then acts something else. Like, you don't know which one, defines the truth. But I challenge y'all to this. Mixed signals are one of two things. Either your denial or a compound signal. And I'll get to that concept in a minute because I know that's probably new to most of y'all. Denial looks more like, oh, he says he want to marry me. He says I'm wifey and I'm his forever thing. But we've been together 11 years. We got 3 kids together. And anytime I bring up marriage, he just gets upset. That's denial, baby girl. He's not going to marry you. At absolute most, you can give him an ultimatum or something like that. Tell him you're going to take his family away. He'll put a ring on your finger and it'll just be bondage, but he won't be married in his heart.
Wait, what? Hold on. Let me make sure I got that right. Did you say at most she could threaten to take his family away to try to force a marriage?
Well, my question is this. Let's let that ride for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're a black woman and you're in that situation, and by the way, there were black women in that situation when I went to go check him, Stefan Labassi, and Ace Metaphor out last May.
Real quick, I do want to make it clear that 11 years, 3 kids, and y'all are married. Y'all are married, but I mean, it's no reason for a guy stalling out at that point. I mean, it's goofy.
I would respectfully disagree. Common law marriages are nowhere near as prevalent as many black folks would like to believe. For example, in my home state, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Commonwealth marriages were phased out circa 2005. So in other words, if you aren't already booed up in common law by 2005 and you did it after then, you're not married in the eyes of the state. Period.
Wow, I didn't know that they was that's interesting. I wonder how many states have done that. Exactly. But either way, I'll say 11 years, 3 kids. The woman, nothing wrong with her expecting marriage, and the guy, it's not like you. That's practically a situation where he might as well. I mean, I understand he's probably guarded. If he's guarded about because he's worried about, okay, we're gonna get married, she's gonna switch up, she's gonna try to take my shit. And as you talked about before, it's ways to guard against that. So I'm not knocking that situation. I'm not saying he's giving bad advice to that woman by saying that that she should be. It's not bad advice to tell her that she should be expecting marriage or should have been expecting marriage. The part that I deemed as bad advice is that he basically he's pulling a damn near a She-Ra 7 saying, oh, well, just threaten to take his kids away.
Well, now I wanted to speak to that. So let's look at that scenario for a moment. Let's assume that she can do it. Let's assume that she does do it. Do you really want to marry under that circumstance?
Right.
I mean, if it takes you taking the kids away from him to get him to put a ring on it, do you really want that?
Yeah, the man don't want to be married to a woman who's willing to do that, and the woman shouldn't want to be married to a man who's only willing to do it because that threat was put on the table. So yeah, and he does touch on that, but the mere fact that he brought that up as an option and said the most you can do is like a subtle implication that she could go ahead and do that if that's what she feels she need to do. I mean, it was a subtle. It wasn't. He didn't say don't do that. He said the most you could do is that. But then he did go on to say the drawbacks to doing it. But he put that on the table. Take the man kids away. I did. That's
See,
the fucked up part.
My main question when he brings that point up is, sis, do you really want to marry a guy that you had to threaten by taking his children away? I mean, we could debate how the children got here, but they are his children just as much as yours.
Yeah.
Legally, there is kids, unless he signs his rights away, there is kids just as much as yours. Legally. So if we're talking about legally getting married, because that is what we're talking about. We ain't talking about no common law here. Okay. Do you really want to marry someone under those circumstances that you had to force, basically with the power of the state? So you're basically essentially talking at the point of a gun. So you want to have a shotgun wedding all over again.
Right.
Is that what you want?
Yeah. And to his credit, he did say that there's drawbacks to doing that. He's going to go on to say the drawbacks of doing that. But the mere fact that he's putting that on the table, he didn't say, now you don't want to do this. He's saying the most you can do in that situation is threaten to take his kids away. But then he said the drawbacks of doing that. But be that as it may, I'm going to let it ride.
And I'm his forever thing. But we've been together 11 years. We got 3 kids together. And anytime I bring up marriage, he just gets upset. That's denial, baby girl. He's not going to marry you. At absolute most, you can give him an ultimatum or something like that. Tell him you're going to take his family away. He'll put a ring on your finger, and it'll just be bondage. But he won't be married in his heart or his mind or in his dick. Like that's just not going to happen. That's denial. Or denial looks like, well, he said he can't stand his baby mama, but every time he over there, he don't answer my calls. He says because she toxic and she gonna take the kids away or whatever. But then he wants to stay the night because he worked too long. It's only a 20-minute drive home, and then they go on family vacations, spend family time, and that's denial. That's denial. That's not family time that he's spending. That's his family. You're like,
agree with that part, by the way. Just want to make it clear. I agree with that part. She's a side chick and don't know it, but yeah.
Roger on sister. You're the friend of the family that's overstanding welcome. She smells your presence and she's trying to, make boundaries or whatever. She's coming down on them. But at the end of the day, that's the family, baby girl. That's denial. Now, compound signal. Compound signals are similar to compound sentences. We don't have mixed sentences. We have 2 sentences that come together and they have a whole new meaning to the compound sentence that is now there. So compound signal looks more like, oh, if I don't call him, we don't talk. If we're not talking, it's whatever. But then whenever I'm in his face, he's all over me. Now, that's when it's understandably a little bit confusing. But the compound signal here is you're more of an out of sight, out of mind type in his priority list. You're out of sight, out of mind. You're not the type of woman that's always on his mind, running through his mind. Nothing feels right without her. No joke is really that funny without her. No special moment is really that special without her. None of that shit. But when y'all together, it's all good, which is fine if the feeling is mutual. But if he's always on your mind, you need to find somebody else more worthy of that type of territory on your mental. Because
now, do you remember the last video? Because remember, he transitioned away from the 13 to 11-year marriage people. He's talking about somebody else, people who are early in the dating process, and he's talking about these mixed signals. Now, do you remember, audience? I just played the video how it was a guy who was in the dating phase with a woman, and she was given similar mixed signals. And only thing he wanted to talk about is how her heart was guarded, and you just got to be patient, and you just got to wait, and you just got to sit around, even if it takes, I think you said 4 or 5 months. You just gotta, you basically just gotta be there, ready, tap dancing and juggling for whenever she's ready. But in this situation, he's basically making it clear that this guy is leading her on. It's some out of sight, out of mind. But when she's there, he's ready, he's down, he's okay to get physical. But when she ain't there, she's not on his mind. She's not on his mind. And if somebody's not on your mind, like how if somebody's not on your mind, or if you're not on somebody else's mind, like how they're on yours or whatever, then you need to move on from that person. But we're looking at how the advice is changing drastically depending on who's on the hot seat. Whereas before right now he's saying that woman needs to realize that she needs to move on from this guy because she's feeling him way more than what he's feeling her. But previously, when it was on the other shoe, she was on the other feet, he's telling the guy to just tap dance in the top hat until the woman is ready for you. I
mean, I get where that's coming from. Look. A lot of black women got fucked over by select fuck boys like Jaxn. Jaxn is a reformed select fuck boy. By the way, this isn't my personal opinion. I'm not slandering the guy. I'm not slandering him. Again, you can go and see it for yourself over on the Roommates podcast, July 2019, right here on YouTube. The Roommates podcast, July 2019, and listen for yourself. Most of the dating coaches for black women and now coming online for black men, most, not all, but most are reformed select fuckboys. Tony Gaskins, I can go right down the list. Hill Harper, one of his gal pals told him in the book, The Conversation, that he was full of shit. She said it in the book.
Whoa. Who said that? Who was full of shit?
Hill Harper, one of his gal pals, told him he was full of shit in the book. Right?
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay.
Goddamn.
So I mean, they say it takes one to know one, right? You know, you want to know God, you go to a preacher. You want to know the devil, go to a demon. So what Derrick is saying to the young fella is a lot of black women have gotten fucked over by guys like me. Now, he's not going to say it this way. A lot of guys got fucked over by guys like me or my old self. And they need time to make sure that you ain't what I once was. Now, again, I'm not here to tell a young brother what to do, because part of being a man is making your own decisions in life. If you need other people to tell you what to do as a grown man, then are you really a grown man?
Understand what you're saying there. But
so what I would say, again, in that particular circumstance, the average black man's lifespan today is 72 years. How you use those years is up to you. And only you can decide how you use those years. Only you can decide. I could tell you what I'm going to do. I ain't waiting. That 90-day, this is basically a variation on the 90-day rule. Screw that. I'm not doing that. Nothing is promised to us. We're living in a time of a global pandemic. Black men affected the most. Death can come for us at any time. I could see giving a sister some, 30 days or whatever. Okay, I could see that. My mom married my father married my mom inside of 30 days. That's the standard he set for me. If she ain't got her mind made up in 30 days, I'm out. I'm out. Now, that's just me. For you, young man, you got to decide what your time limit is.
Cornelius Edwards, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Now, I can say somebody who was recently out there in the dating game. I'm in a relationship now, as most people know. I've said that on my I've said that on this show plenty of times. What I can say, and this is what I know for a fact, because I understand that you seem to be sympathetic to the argument that, hey, the women have dealt with a lot of guys who was on some bullshit, and so they're legitimately guarded. What I know as somebody who's being real, I'm not saying that that's not a thing. I'm not saying that that's not a reality that some women deal with, because the woman I'm with now, she was, guarded to a degree. She was guarded, but she was guarded about sex, but she was open in terms of everything. As any moment, any break in her schedule, she rolled out the red carpet when we were in the early get to know you phase. She wasn't just hopping right in bed, but she did want to make it clear that I was her number one plan, a number one thing. It didn't matter if it was last minute, whatever. She gave me her whole schedule a week in advance. Any time slot I wanted in that schedule, she came running. No matter how small the date, no matter how big the date, it don't matter. She came running. So that way I felt, you know, secure in that she wasn't just wasting my time. But what a lot of women do when they're stalling a guy out like that, I know from experience being recent out here in this dating game, that really all they're doing is they're just putting you in the queue. They got other shit going on with other guys.
Right.
And so you're just in the queue.
Well,
And
again, I hear all of that.
mm-hmm.
All I'm saying I'm specifically speaking to the younger guys because that was the premise of the video. Okay. You have 72 years on average, bro. How you choose to spend it is completely up to you. Would I do it? No. Because again, even though we have an average of 72 years, nothing is promised to us. So
right.
that's my take on it. And by the way, because he did bring this up, you know, the 11 years and 3 kids, blah, blah, blah. Ladies, you need to understand something. If a man wants you as his woman, as his wife, whatever, he's going to claim you quick. You'll know it very quickly. Like I said, my dad met my mom and 30 days later, they were married. 30 days. And they stayed that way for the next 30 years until he died. If a man wants you, he'll claim you quick.
Yeah, I want to get back into the table. I think times were different in your mom and dad's period because it was an expectation in, you know, the 60s that a man meet a woman, if he proposed to that woman, marry that woman, it was the cultural expectation that she was going to get on program, follow his lead, and submit to him. Nowadays, it's a completely different animal, and you got to really know these women because you don't. It's like you damn near don't know a woman nowadays until you've lived with her. I mean, it's difficult nowadays. But if a guy shouldn't be stalling a woman out forever for a relationship, and once the relationship is going, if marriage is something that they're both saying that they want, he shouldn't be stalling her out about the marriage for 11 years if that's something that he stated that he wants. Because if he said that he's okay with marriage or open to marriage, and it's been 11 years and some kids, and he's basically gaslighting her. He don't want to commit to it. He's doing more or less with this woman. This woman I worked with, she was with a guy for about over a decade. She had 2 kids by him. I assumed she was married. She said, I was like, "Oh, you're not married?" And then she was like, "No, I'm not ready. I can't do it." I was like, "Well, I mean, you living the married life. You've been living with a guy for 10 years and got 2 kids." So I'm trying to figure out why is it that she, you know, I was just curious why this woman didn't feel like she was ready for marriage. Well, then lo and behold, I found out a week later, okay, she was fucking one of the coworkers. Okay, that's why she's not ready for marriage. She won't stop fucking other people. So, you know, so there's something but she was telling him that she was, you know, open to marriage. She said she was explaining how they would be talking about marriage. So basically she was just gaslighting him, just keeping him in position, you know, there at home with the kids while she was still doing her whole thing. And so you talk about the select fuck boys, that's something that, yeah, a lot of them will do. And so that's why Derrick Jaxn is saying that in a previous video, why women are guarded. But what I'm adding to that equation is that a lot of them, they faking the funk on the guarded thing, and they're really just sending mixed signals. They really just got you in the queue. They really just wasting your time. They're really just doing the same shit that a lot of guys do, because that's how a lot of women operate nowadays.
Sure. I mean, look.
Yeah, but
you're going to have bad actors. Again,
yeah, exactly.
Again, you're going to have bad actors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the motivations of the young lady that Jaxn was talking about. What I do know is this. You got 72 years on average, bro.
Mm-hmm.
How you choose to spend those years is up to you.
Right on. Let's get back to the table. I'm gonna back up a few seconds just to make sure we remember where we were at and now.
Shit. But when y'all together, it's all good. Which is fine if the feeling is mutual, but if he's always on your mind, you need to find somebody else more worthy of that type of territory on your mental. Because if you're not there, he's not thinking about you, and more than likely there's somebody else in his face. Or he say he don't want a relationship, but he acting like he do. I get that. That has confused people for decades and probably even centuries. The compound signal there is.
That was exactly the situation in the last video when he was criticizing the other way around. But I'm not going to beat that dead horse. All right, let it play.
He does want a relationship access to you. He just doesn't want relationship structure. Now, how do you know this? Not just because I said it, but think about it. When has it been a green light? When has it been a red light? Typically, there's a green light whenever there's relationship perks in the mix, whenever there's some type of benefit, when there's some type of cooked food on the line, some type of bottomless pussy on the line, when there's some type of something like that, there's a green light. But when it comes to, where are we going? Relationship progress. When it comes to who are you talking to? Relationship boundaries. When it comes to that type of thing, we ain't supposed to be dealing with nobody else or whatever. When it comes to all of the relationship protection around your heart, that's where you get that's when you get the red light. That tells you he wants relationship access with all the relationship responsibilities. Or I'll give you one more. It's like 1 second we together, the next second we not. I don't get it. That's understandably a little weird because a lot of guys will actually claim you my old lady, we together, boo, boo, boo. And then the next second we ain't together. We never said we was together. The compound signal there is y'all aren't together, but he's trying to keep you close enough to where you don't fuck with nobody else that's better than him that can take his spot. Whatever spot that is, he don't want it taken. But y'all damn sure ain't together. Now, that kind of blurs the line of denial, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I don't know about y'all, but that seems a little exhausting to deal with, that I can imagine. That's why a lot of people don't even like dating, because you have to kind of sift through all of that bullshit. But not all guys are on that type of time. Not all guys are on this compound signal sending or have you in a position where you get into denial because your emotions are so invested. And that type of guy knows the value of certainty, of not being vague, of securing a woman's place, not only in reality, but also her being secure in her mind and her heart about where she stands on his priority list and in his future. Now, that type of guy, going in more detail about it, call him Mr. Right in my book, Don't Forget Your Crown. And I just extended the 50% off sale, so get it at the link in the caption if you haven't yet, so you can get in full detail what that guy looks like and what he's attracted to. But the moral of the story is this. If a guy really fucks with you, you'll know. And if you don't know, he don't fuck with you. So y'all let me know what you think.
All right, I'm not going to beat the dead horse about how you saying if a guy really fuck with you, you would know. But if he don't fuck with you, then you know. I mean, the previous video was the same video, just different advice when it's the woman in the hot seat versus the man in the hot seat. He does that all the time. And that's why I feel like he's generally giving bad advice or not taking everything into the equation, or even when he's right, it's incomplete. It's not a total picture. It's not a full story. But ARC put something on the table, says the term select fuckboy is not precise. It is extremely vague and ambiguous. My thoughts. Do you got an actual working definition? And I'm going to start saying this, people in these spaces, because a lot of terms and words and phrases are made up all the time. When my man Zero was on here, he was using the phrase welfare pussy, and I was trying to get a good working definition of what welfare pussy was because he kept using it. So I'm going to start telling people, hey, y'all need to write out y'all words that y'all are making up. If you made it up, get a hard etched in stone definition of it. So I don't know if you've done that with select fuckboy, but if you could, to give an exact, precise as possible definition of a select fuckboy.
Yes, I do have it. It's in the glossary in the Book of Obsidian, and I'm very precise about it.
All right. Is he saying a non-precise term? Don't want to get distracted with you two. Yeah, go to.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's all explained in the glossary to the Book of Obsidian. I anticipated that the book would need a glossary because these are terms that quite a few people would be not clear on or may even disagree with. So I made sure to include a lexicon in the back of the Book of Obsidian, Volume 1. And I may repeat that. More than likely, I'm going to repeat that same lexicon for volume 2 and expand it to include any new terms that crop up in the course of the second book that I'm writing right now. So yes, the term select fuckboy will be in the glossary to the Book of Obsidian. Yes.
All right, fair enough with that. And I say to anybody in this Black Manosphere space, a glossary is very important if anybody's writing a book, because it's so many terms, words, phrases that get made up. Is the average person who's not familiar with this shit is not going to know what the hell everybody is talking about. That's just reality. You know, somebody got called a non-select beta buck red pill raging mode for massage. I think they might have been calling you that. This was when I first came into the space. I heard somebody say that, and I was like, "What the fuck is they talking about?" They said a beta buck non-select red pill rage. I didn't know what none of that shit was. Mode for I forgot. It was they use terminologies. This was I think I can't remember who made the video, but somebody was trying to take some shots at you, saying you was red pill raging, and I was like, I didn't know what none of this shit was. This was may have been late 2017, early 2018 when I first stumbled into all this shit. So yeah, glossaries are important. That's just what it is. Because if we don't define these terms, the shit is just going to run amok, and then we're going to lose the word, going to lose the phrase. It's like how we can't even pin down what exactly a simp is right now, because you ask 30 different guys in these spaces, what's a simp? You're going to get 30 different answers. So there's that. We are 2 hours in. We're going to do at least 2 more of these. At least 2 more of these.
I'm currently here in Bardarash refugee camp in the Kurdistan region of Iraq. This camp is currently hosting approximately 11.
Team Jaxn, what's happening? So yesterday, man, I was looking at the feedback from my IG stories when I talked about the number one reason a guy will get comfortable disrespecting you. And of course, there were some people that misunderstood what I was saying, as if, you know, if a guy disrespects you, mistreats you, abuses, etc., that it's on you as a woman. No, it's not. If a man does something to you, whatever it is, it was internal, it's his fault. Now, if he gets comfortable doing something, it's kind of like that saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. If he gets comfortable, yes, I'm putting the blame on you as the woman, whoever it is, a man or whatever, whoever's listening to this. And the only reason why...
Just want to point out, I agree with that 100%. Somebody's going to slip up and do something wrong one time, you can try to nip it in the bud. But if they just get comfortable with it, it's your fault. I mean, that person's a bad person. We can call that person a bad person. But if you just standing in it, then yeah, we can put that on the individual as well who's sitting there taking it.
Guy's going to get comfortable doing something like mistreat you in any type of way is because there's not enough value on your presence. But why wouldn't it be enough value on the presence? Because there's not enough respect to your absence. But why is that? So here's the thing. Even as an amazing woman, we talk about women being blessings and, you know, gift from God and all that kind of stuff. And that's true. But it's not easy loving y'all all the time. And it's not supposed to be, because you're human. You got your ups and downs, you got your flaws, you got your shit. And because there are some things about you that are so high up that when the average guy meets you, in order to love that part of you correctly, he has to stretch himself. He has to level up. He has to become a better version. He has to challenge himself. He has to die to his old ways. He has to beat his demons. He has to do all of these things that are really uncomfortable and painful. And that's what they're talking about when they say a relationship is work, because of course that should be vice versa. That should be...
He sprinkled in some word salad at the end of that, but did you hear and did you catch how he was essentially doing something that he always does when he was talking about how a woman being hard to love? Now, that's one of the big ones in the Black Manosphere. In Black Manosphere, we're talking about women, particularly Black women, how so many of them, they can be difficult if you're actually trying to be in a relationship with them.
Right.
And he's basically he's trying to spray perfume over that shit.
Yeah. Let me So there's two things here. So you just mentioned one, but let me go. Well, you know what? I'll deal with this first, and then deal with the other piece about the women not getting respect because the guy's not respecting their absence. So let me deal with the first one that I just talked about. See, I like things easy, and I realize a big part of the Black experience is difficulty, is strife, is conflict, is struggle, it's deprivation, is poverty. As a matter of fact, you're not considered really Black if you grew up middle class, well adjusted, no major issues. Your very essence as a Black American is called into question because you didn't struggle through something. You haven't been through something. Now, I mean, look, people have a right to feel the way they want to feel. But my position is this isn't a civil rights march for me. Love ain't a community organizing project. It's not a big protest on a march on Washington. It's not supposed like the senator said to Olivia Pope, love is not supposed to hurt, Liv. So that's where I'm at with it. I like women who like to smile. I like women who like to be friendly and bubbly. I like women who like to be approached. I like women who, if they had problems, they got help, professional help that you pay for those problems. I like women who like to have fun. That's what I'm about. That's where I'm at with it. I simply just don't have any interest in dealing with difficult people in my personal life. I just don't. So for a lot of Black women, especially in my milieu, that is to say Generation X. So we're talking about Black women, they're roughly a decade younger than me. I'm 51. So we're looking at Black women, 39, 40. You get the idea. Or on up. A lot of those Black women are very difficult. I'm not blaming anybody here. I'm just simply saying, and I'm not saying that they're bad people. They're just not good for me. That's all it means. I got 72 years on average in this world. How I choose to spend that time is completely up to me. I get to make that call. And what a lot of Black women don't like is brothers like me making the call. I like to go to the circus. I love going to the circus. When's the last time you ever heard a Black woman talking about how much they love to go to the circus, Bernie?
I can't think of it.
Exactly. Precisely. And that's my point. Now, let's move to the other point that Derrick made. I said this about Atara Dallas. I'm going to repeat it, and I'm going to be writing about this. So a big problem with a lot of Black women, and they don't want to accept this, Black women are very visual. Much more so than white or Asian or Hispanic women. They're very visual. As a matter of fact, Black women use social media more than anybody else. That's part of the reason. That's part of the reason why Derrick is so insanely successful. Because of that, Black women are very visually driven, and not just in terms of physicality with men, although that's a big part of it, but also in terms of social status. Also in terms, how other men, well, not really other men, how other women react to a man and stuff like that. So here's the thing with that. A lot of Black women gun out of their league. They gun for the most desirable Black men. And of course, they can't lock them down. They can't get them to commit. Ladies, if you want to know where your lane is, I can show you. It's the man that you can attract who is willing to commit to you and won't stray on you. That's your lane. If you got a man who's constantly cheating on you, if you got a man who is kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out with you, if you got a man that's, in by dusk, out by dawn, or the every Tuesday man, he's not in your lane. He's out of your league. Don't get it twisted. You can get a higher post man for sex. Sure. One night stand, weekend fling, friends with benefits, cuffing season, on the down low. Sure. But to get him to pay your bills, to get him to be seen with you out in public in the light of day, to get him to commit to you, no. A lot of black women don't want to be told that a big source of their problems in love is because they're gunning out of their league. Nobody, including the man you see on the screen right now, will tell black women, you got to stay in your lane, girl. You going out of your lane. I mean, unless you just want to have a roll in the hay. But we know most black women don't want to have just a roll in the hay. If that were true, the man on the screen wouldn't be driving around in a Bentley. So here's the harsh truth. You're gunning out of your league. You need to lower your standards. That's the truth.
Well, what I say to that is women tend to have two different lanes. They have a lane of guys that, they can get some dick after midnight from, and they have a lane of guys that they can get commitment from. They spend more time in the dick lane than the commitment lane. So, but those are two different types of guys. So that's where I would say that. But I do want to deal with this comment from Baby Girl. I've never seen any good-looking men complaining about women. It's a lot of good-looking men who find themselves in divorce court. There's a lot of good-looking men who find themselves in all kind of problems with child support. There are a lot of good-looking men who have all kinds of problems with women. There are super select professional athletes who have married women that have fucked their teammates. There are all kinds of men at the top of masculinity, physical ability, and good looks who we've seen publicly have women, do all kinds of bullshit. So the idea and the notion that guys who are attractive don't have any critiques of the actions and behaviors of women, that's bullshit. Guys at all levels have critiques of women.
I'm glad Miss Baby Girl says this, because I mean, isn't everybody talking about Mr. Boris Cujo? I mean, he's the emperor. Forget king. He's the emperor of the select guys. Notice I didn't say select fuckboy. There is a difference, gentlemen with three names. There's a difference between a select man or select guy and a select fuckboy. Repeat after me. Not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims. Not all select guys are fuckboys, but all fuckboys are select guys. Okay? I find it interesting that Miss Baby Girl makes these statements. And the irony is, we don't know who she looks like. See, couldn't it be often also said? I mean, the argument is good-looking guys don't complain about women, but we could say the same thing in reverse. Good-looking black women, by and large, don't complain about black men. By and large. Couldn't we say that? And if not, why? All the women that I hear complaining about black men from sun up to sundown, nobody's accused them of being a beauty queen. Right?
Caesar D says with the cash app, he says, Baby Girl, cam up or go line up every excuse me, go line up every rock in your town and kick them one by one until you pass out. And here's another thing that I can't stand. LOL, I don't hate black men. I'm just saying good looking men don't spend all their time complaining about us. That's all, guys. I hate when people pretend to not understand the concept of a live stream show.
But no. She gets it.
That's why I said pretend.
Hang on. Baby girl, would you agree or disagree that black women are doing the exact same thing? That the good-looking black women don't complain about black women don't complain about black men. It's the black women who are 4s, 3s, 2s, 1s, who are all over social media. As a matter of fact, at least the brothers who ain't good looking aren't saying they a dime, they a 10, they the cat's meow. We got black women who say with a straight face that they a 10. And ain't no black man agreed with that shit. Would you agree with that, Miss Baby Girl? I mean, do you really want to have an honest conversation here? See, I don't think you do.
No, again, all she's doing is bumping the chess table. She's bumping the table to knock over the chess pieces, to get us arguing over whether or not good-looking men have critiques of women. Pretending to not understand the idea and the concept of a live stream show where men talk about Black America as it pertains to dating, mating, relating, and overall interactions between black men and black women. To pretend to not understand the concept of that, to come into a live stream show and not understand that you're watching a show where, as you can see on the screen, the people doing the show get paid to do the show. That's just stupid. You might as well go criticize ARC for his critique of black women when he wrote a book that he got paid, that he gets paid when people buy the book. Like, it's a silly concept. It's just trying to knock over the chess pieces. It's silly. It's silly. All right. Shout out to ARC and the book, The Possibility of Sex, where women were critiqued and criticized and broken down very, I won't say harshly, but you know, he really laid it out there in that book. And by all accounts, not judging male attractiveness, but by all accounts, I mean, okay, we ARC, so it's supposedly a good-looking guy. Not trying to, you know, be judging male attractiveness, but a good-looking guy who can see the problems, with the things that women do and can write a book about it. But then there's other men who can see problems with things that women can do. I don't know if I'm talented enough to write a book, but I am talented enough to host a live stream show. Now, some people may not be talented enough to host a live stream show, but they're talented enough to hop on a panel and talk about it. But the conversation is happening regardless. So to try to make it seem as if the men who offer critiques of women are only doing it because they have a deficiency, that's bullshit. That is bullshit. It's just trying to distract from the conversation. You're trying to knock over the chess pieces. That's all that's happening here. All right. We haven't even pushed play on this tape in a while. Caesar D, thank you for that super chat, though. Let's get back to it.
On both sides, but I'm just speaking as a man here. That requires work. But what do we know about men and work when it comes to a job being done consistently and correctly? Well, it gets done consistently and correctly because of how much he wants to keep that job, because of how much respect he has to the potential loss of that job, or even if he has his own business, potential loss of sales, et cetera, et cetera. You get the point that I'm making. So in order for a man to show up consistently and correctly to something, he has to say, you know, I can't lose that. You know, I always say there's two types of women. There's a type of woman that, you know, a man cannot afford to lose. He don't play about, he's not bullshitting about. And then there's the type of woman that she ain't going nowhere. It's that type of woman. What do we know about the type of woman that a guy just can talk about freely with his friends, or even say to her, you ain't going no fucking where? What does that even typically like proceed with? Some type of fucked up treatment, some type of mistreatment. She ain't going nowhere. I did this to her, but she ain't going nowhere. But what about the woman that a guy says, I can't afford to lose that one, dog? Who I can't lose that one? He's usually talking in context of, it's something I got to fix. It's some way that I can't blur a line here. It's some way that I got to respect the relationship. No, I ain't doing that. It's going to cause me to lose her. Why does he say I cannot lose that woman? Because she made him put respect on her potential absence. She didn't give unconditional love. You know, a lot of people got a problem with that whenever I said it. She didn't give unconditional love. Why? Because whenever you love somebody in action form, it costs you something. It's a sacrifice you're making. That's why they say you can't love from an empty cup, because anytime that you love, you're giving something. You are a finite source of love. Therefore, you need something to replace that in order to continue loving. That's a condition. So you.
Okay, are you hearing what I'm hearing here? Because it sounds like
absolutely. And what's interesting about it, if I may, Bernie, what's interesting about it is, you know, this is a very interesting dynamic we got going here, because Derrick is coming at it from one end, which is the black woman's end. I'm coming at it from the black men's end. He's saying you got to raise your standards, and the guys that will see that will be in alignment with it. Okay, fair enough. I'm saying something different. I'm saying no matter where you go, ladies, there you are. There's no escape. Water seeks its own level. See, it's easier. The irony here is that you hear a lot of black women talking about leveling up, but here's the truth, ladies. Here's the truth. And you don't have to take my word for this. I'm going to give you the source so you can see for yourself. It's easier for a man to level up than a woman. Let me repeat that again for you. It's easier for a man to level up than a woman. And you want to know the reason why that is? It doesn't have anything to do with misogyny or patriarchy or any of that crap. Just good old Mother Nature. Or even more specifically, you. You see, women have more needs in a man than men have needs in a woman, which means that a man has more to work with to level up with than a woman does. And this is the reason why pickup artists are so incredibly successful. Derrick Jaxn ain't got shit on mystery. Look him up. Eric Von Markovic, also known as Mystery. Okay? A man can level up a lot faster than a woman can. So here's the real issue. You're gunning out of your league. You want a man that respects your absence? Stay in your lane. Lower your standards. So that's, black women are loath to hear that. But the old man gonna tell you, you got to lower your standards. Though you got to go for the guys you can attract, that's willing to pay your bills. Because it's all about getting the bag, right, ladies? Right?
Would I agree with where you're taking it. Okay. What I noticed from that, when he's telling women, this guy who's not respecting you, he don't respect you when you're there, he ain't respecting your absence, but if you do this, you can make this guy treat you better. It's almost like he's giving women advice how to make a guy who ain't shit or treats her like shit go through a metamorphosis and treat her like one of the decent men who she probably, you know, whose text messages she's probably ignoring, or they're one of the guys that she put in the friend zone, or it's like a if a woman.
I disagree. I don't hear Derrick saying that at all.
Okay,
see, the trick is he's not saying what either one of you us are saying. He's not saying what you're saying, and he's not saying what I'm saying. So what is Derrick saying?
Okay, what do you think he's saying? Because that's what I heard. That's what I hear him saying. Yes, he's vague, but that's what I heard from that when he was saying, if you do this, you make him respect you when you're there in his presence. He's going to respect your absence. He's just coming up with some word salad to try to say that it's something that this woman can do that can make a generally disrespectful guy go through a metamorphosis and turn into some good, decent guy who's going to respect and nurture her presence and her absence. It's just some word salad bullshit. But go ahead. What do you think he's saying?
Well, this is the female. This is the black. Well, we're going to say black. This is the black female equivalent of the idea of, can I get that girl back? You know, you kind of mess up an approach or you mess up a relationship. Can you get her back? The answer is more than likely no. Sis, you gunned out of your league. You got to face facts. You went a bridge too far. You went out of your lane. You can't lock them for a relationship. I'm sorry.
You know why it's difficult for women to see that? It's difficult for women to see that because even though they can't lock that guy down, like you're saying, they can't get commitment from that guy, like you're saying, can't get relationship from that guy, they still can get dick from that guy. And as long as they're getting dick from that guy, they're going to believe that there's a chance at a relationship. So what you're saying is right, but it's practically impossible for them to see that. So that's why I'm analyzing whether or not he's giving good advice or bad advice, because he's trying to tell them tricks and tactics to try to subdue this guy who's telling her, I don't really like you that much. You're just a warm hole for me to put my dick.
Let me respond to Complex Design. And Georgia Boy said this earlier. The sentiment was the same. So I'm going to take out two birds with one stone. Both of their questions is, has Derrick Jaxn ever responded to Obsidian? The answer is yes, he has. Next question. I want to go and give a shout out to the man with 3 names. He knows who he is. We don't want to mention any names here. We might mess around and summon the Kraken. But the man with 3 names makes a damn good point in his work. See, there's sexual companionship, and then there's non-sexual companionship. And Black Americans got to get the two concepts clearly understood. We got to make a clear distinction and understand them well. See, Black women don't understand that fucking a woman and wifing a woman are 2 very different things. And yes, Black men do see them as 2 very different things. We can wife a woman and then fuck another one. That's the reason why y'all have so much trouble with brothers cheating, which I don't condone, by the way. So you have to ask yourself, what's the missing ingredient here? The missing ingredient is he doesn't value your non-sexual companionship. Okay? See, men who value women's non-sexual, I'm talking about Black men. Black men who value Black women's non-sexual companionship tend to be the women they want to keep around in some way, shape, or form. Not everybody gets married, obviously. But he wants her around as his woman, as his significant other, his lady friend, something. If he enjoys her company when they're not fucking. Which then begs the question. Then why is it so many Black men not marrying? And why is it so many Black men are confirmed bachelors and single? Answer is because, and this is going to be harsh, most Black women have little else to offer outside of sex. I mean, once the sex is over, what else is there? Remember what I was saying about the circus, Bernard? Right. And how you couldn't even think of a Black woman, one, who loves going to the circus?
Right.
That's a non-sexual activity.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Men wife up women based on non-sexual companionship, not sexual companionship. Especially in a day like today. Now, we could argue back in the day, and the man with 3 names, has talked about this. He's done a superlative job, as a matter of fact, in talking about it in one of his books. I highly recommend it. He's right. In a different age, yes, you could go ahead and get booed up, get married and whatever, but we don't live in that age anymore. That was then, this is now. And the simple truth is, this is going to be harsh, but the simple truth is, not many black women have much to offer outside of sex.
Complex design. You know you're my man, but when you're saying, okay, it wasn't a dig, I really want to know if he's responded. I don't think I've ever heard him address, oh man, that's all. Of course he hasn't, but Derrick Jaxn has addressed people like Charlemagne the God and other celebrity, basically people who are above him. As far as Derrick Jaxn has responded to people that are above him in terms of success and fame. It would be silly for him to punch down.
Which then would validate what Charlemagne said that he was responding to, was that Derrick Jaxn was clout chasing. Well, that would be true then. By what you just said of Derrick Jaxn's behavior, that would be true. He only responds to people that are above him. Right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's nothing wrong with that.
I didn't say there was anything wrong with it either. Okay. I was just making an observation.
Yeah.
I didn't say it was wrong. I didn't say it was wrong. But actually, Jaxn has responded to me on a number of different occasions. As a matter of fact, I have strong evidence to suggest that he might have even written a book based on what I've said in my podcast.
I've watched enough Derrick Jaxn videos to where I can tell he listens to Black Manosphere content. I can't say directly this person or that person he's responded to, because he responds to people all the time. He's not going to say their name unless saying their name is going to help him. But as Derrick Jaxn said, as I stated earlier in the show, he said it himself that there's nothing wrong with responding to somebody, long as you're staying more or less on the merits of the points that are being made.
And I agree with that. I don't need Derrick Jaxn to mention me.
Yeah.
My existence is not contingent on whether Derrick Jaxn mentions me by name or not. I would much rather him deal with my arguments and my ideas, and I really am hopeful that he gets wind of this show and responds accordingly to the arguments, not the personalities. Let me say it again. Ladies, if you are having trouble with a guy respecting you, a guy paying your bills, a guy committing to you, that's an indication that you fucked out of your league. Let's just call it for what it is. You fucked, and it's very easy for a woman to fuck out of her league. It's harder for a man to do it. It's very easy for a woman. A woman that's a 4, a black woman that's a 4 can fuck a black man that's an 8 easily. Don't believe me? Pornhub. Go to Pornhub and look for yourself.
Well, there's money being put on the table in Pornhub. That's different, but we do know. I put it like this:
not for black folks, it ain't. If very few black people in porn make money, very few.
Okay, well,
that's especially true for black women. Don't believe me? DJ Vlad, right here on YouTube, look it up. He's interviewed Pinky. He's interviewed a whole bunch of black female porn stars. They're crying the blues that they don't make no money. Now we could debate why and go into. I'm just telling you the outcome. Whatever the reason, black women, as a general rule, don't tend to make a lot of money in porn. So we could put that argument to bed. As I was saying, Pornhub and other porn sites can give you easy evidence of what I'm saying. You can be a 4 chick and get an 8 guy, 9 guy, 10 guy for sex, but he ain't gonna wife you. He ain't gonna pay your bills. He ain't gonna be seen out in public with you beyond that.
Well, I can just speak to that myself. I mean, I've had sex with some women, and I had to stop doing that because I was like, a lot of men are guilty. A lot of men are guilty of this, and I was guilty of this at one point. It was post-divorce. Like a lot of people know, I got single for the first time in my adult life at 31. I wanted some new pussy so bad I was taking all comers. So yes, I fucked some women that I wouldn't be seen with in public. So if you're saying, can a woman?
Oh my God. If it's one thing that black women know and know well is that brothers will bang anything. Brothers are the swordsmen of mercy. If it wasn't for black men, there'd be a whole lot of bras not getting no work.
Even in this space, and I'm not naming no names, but there are some select guys, or supposedly select guys who got pictures with the shirt off, and they've all admitted to fucking fat women and women who are 5s, 4s, and 3s, and everybody's admitted it. Even in this space where women are critiqued harder than what's even fair sometimes. The guys who profess to be in select have admitted in the unholy or holy name of getting their dick wet, they've lowered their standard down to the ground floor and fucked a woman that they wouldn't be seen with in public. So that's why we don't got to look to Pornhub for that one.
Let's go back to something you said earlier, Bernie. You said a lot of black women, not all, but a lot of black women have two guys or two slots or two territories, two categories. The one guy that they can get for sex and the other guy they can get for commitment. And they tend to generally go for the former and not the latter, and then try to convert the former into the latter. Now, that tells me that black women know what their lane is. They know, and I want to give a shout out to Ron Wills on this one. He said this years ago. Most black women have not just one brother willing to commit to them. They've had several. Let me say that again.
Whoa, Great Britain. I said I ain't dropping names. Great Britain. I said
most black women have had in their life several black men willing to commit to them. Most. Several. Okay? So this idea that we can't find no man on my level, that there's a shortage of good black men, that's bullshit. You just don't like the lane that you in. I'm sorry, sis. No matter where you go, there you are. There's no escape. See, it's true that the wall is undefeated, but so is your lane. And see, the dirty little secret is that lane is much more fixed for women than it is for men. You want to know the guys that are in your lane, look for the guys who are willing to pay your bills. That's your lane. It's that simple.
All right. I don't even remember what the hell Derrick Jaxn was talking about. I do know I did analyze it, that he was giving bad advice, telling women what they can do to get this guy who's disrespectful, don't respect their presence or their absence, the things she can do to turn this guy around, to morph this guy into somebody who's going to treat her different. And your analysis is that this guy is out of her lane, but he's giving advice to try to get women to get guys that's out of their lane to get in their lane somehow. So I think that was just bad advice. I think you think it was either bad advice or non-advice, but that's the backstory for those who either weren't tuned in when we were playing the tape. And now we're going back to the tape. I'll back it up about 10 seconds, and then we're going to roll it and see where it goes from there. We analyzing whether or not Derrick Jaxn is giving good advice or bad advice to women.
Something. It's a sacrifice you're making. That's why they say you can't love from an empty cup, because anytime that you love, you're giving something. You are a finite source of love. Therefore, you need something to replace that in order to continue loving. That's a condition. So if you love somebody unconditionally who's not meeting any conditions, at some point you won't be able to love them, yourself, or anybody else. The woman that a man just cannot afford to lose, she's not accepting bribes as forgiveness. She's not accepting that trip to Bermuda or Miami or whatever. She's not accepting good dick whenever he does wrong. She's not accepting him getting on bended knee whenever he gets caught up in his bullshit. She's not accepting a diamond ring. She's not doing that. Why? Because eventually those iced out Band-Aids take the place of the corrective surgery that a lot of times is really needed in order to move forward in a constructive fashion. She's not accepting that. That's going to compromise the respect on her absence. And thirdly, she's not making empty threats. She's not talking about, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. If you do this again, she's going to clearly communicate. The woman that a man cannot afford to lose, that has respect in her absence, she's going to clearly communicate to him. She's going to evaluate. She's going to hold him accountable. And instead of giving threats, she's going to give reminders. Women that a man cannot afford to lose, they don't give threats. They give reminders. What is I told you. I already told you what was going to happen.
Do you remember how he defined a woman that a man can't afford to lose?
Yeah.
Okay, what the hell is he talking about right there? A woman, a man can't afford to lose her. I don't understand what he means by that.
Well, again, more word salad.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've had a chance to observe Derrick Jaxn up close and personal. I mean, this is pretty much what you get. Again, the black women need to be, and see, I feel a disturbance in the force. This is the reason why I'm working on the books that I'm working on, because I do feel a disturbance in the force. And that is this: ever so slightly, black women are coming to the realization that what they're doing doesn't work. It feels good, it looks good, smells good, but doesn't work. And, as Miss Atara Dallas said last week, so you can get away, and I got to give a shout out to the man with 3 names on this, because he's talked about this as well, and I'll give him his due on this. A lot of women, in this case, black women, are very delusional. And that delusion only increases with age. You would think it'd be the other way around. They'd be real delusional younger, and then they kind of sober up as they get older. No, it gets worse if it's not checked with a serious intervention. And that intervention normally comes for a lot of black women in the form of the wall and worse. I think a lot of black women are slowly coming to the realization that the course that they have embarked on, of which Mr. Derrick Jaxn is a part, doesn't work. It feels good in the moment, but in those quiet places, when you're alone, it doesn't work. And I think it will, in my books will be a test as to whether I'm right or wrong. I get the sense that ever so slowly, black women just might be willing to hear something different. We'll see. We'll see. I could be dead wrong. We'll see.
Caesar D, thank you for another super chat. I'm going to say Cash App again, but yeah, thank you for that super chat. I appreciate that. All right.
So going back to what I was saying, yeah, I mean, one of the biggest problems black women have is that they go for guys that are out of their league. You can fuck them, but that's all it's going to be.
Yep. Let me see. All right, we're about to get back onto the tape. Click on that. Yeah, I was analyzing it bit by bit, but we talked a little, just a tad bit. I won't say too much because I like everything we was talking about. But yeah, I got off the basis of the line of logic that he was following down. The previous stuff that he said, just in a snapshot, it sounded okay. It was a lot of word salad, but it sounded okay. A lot of ill-defined terms, a lot of things set up on a vague premise. But in the beginning, he was trying to give women tips on how to deal.
It's interesting. Speaking of the man with 3 names, because I think he's still here. So he wanted to ask for precision on my terminology, right? Which is a fair question. But I find it interesting that he doesn't have any problem with what Derrick says, even though it's been documented. I mean, brothers by the name of Abba and Preach, you can look them up. Abba and Preach here on YouTube, and type in the name Derrick Jaxn. They show you videos of Jaxn contradicting himself. The man with 3 names has nothing to say about that. I just think that's fascinating. He wants precision from me, but is completely okay with anything but precision from Jaxn. I'm flattered. I truly am flattered.
On to the tape.
I told you what was going to happen if we, met this situation again. I told you what was going to happen if you kept doing this. I already told you what happened. Ain't no threats about don't talk to me. You know you can't talk to her because you can't get through. Now, again, we're talking in the context of a man who still has a lot of work to do on himself in terms of being ready for a relationship. But there is a type of man that has already done that work, who's already prioritized growth to the point that she doesn't have to do all of this grooming, teaching, any of that shit. There's like a built-in respect to her absence off top. Now, if you want to know more about that guy and what he looks like, what to look for in that type of man, I go in full detail about him in my book, Don't Forget Your Crown. And I extended the 50% off sale at the link in the caption. So click it.
Hold on real quick. You've been extending that 50% off sale.
You were reading my mind. You were reading my mind. So let's analyze that for a minute. Now, for those who are going to say, well, you're just jealous. You're just jealous of Derrick Jaxn, blah, 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 blah. He don't knock his hustle. Look, you have never once heard me attempt to hate on Derrick Jaxn for being a businessman. Never, and I never will. He has every right to make a living. He has every right to sell his wares. He has every right to do what he does. It's not illegal. We can debate whether it's ethical or immoral. That's a separate issue. But what I am going to say here, we've watched now 4 videos of that, and this is within the last week, right?
Yeah, these are his last 4 videos. So yeah,
okay, so these are within the last 4. These are recent.
Mm-hmm.
And every last video is a pitch for his book, Don't Forget Your Crown, that he's now selling for 50% off. I want to back up for a moment. Let's analyze this, because everybody knows I'm writing a book for myself. And people say, well, I'm sitting here, you plugging your book. Yes, I am. Just like he's plugging his book. I just got finished saying I don't have a problem with him making a living. So by that same argument, you don't have a problem with me making a living either, right? See what I did there? So let's back up here. So I learned a lot about the book business in writing the Book of Obsidian. And first of all, when you call your book a bestseller, my question becomes, by what metric? See, there is a certain metric that you have to meet if your book is going to be a New York Times bestseller. You essentially have to sell something like 20,000 books in the first week of release or less. In other words, 20,000 plus books within a week or less of it first coming out. That makes your book a strong contender to make the New York Times best-selling list. Derrick Jaxn has never made the New York Times bestseller list. So we can comfortably say that if his book is a bestseller, it ain't on the NYT. Hill Harper is on the NYT. Steve Harvey is on the NYT. Tucker Max is on the NYT. Not Derrick Jaxn. That's number 1. All right. Well, what about Amazon? Amazon also has its own metrics for making its bestseller list. To be fair, I do not know with certainty if his books have done that. So I'm curious to know on what basis does he say his book is a bestseller, on what metric? That's number 1. But number 2, here's this. When's the last time you heard of a best-selling book that's less than a few years old that is now being slashed and sold by the author himself at 50% off? I ask you, Bernie.
I don't know. I don't know that much about, the book business as far as, selling the books, everything you everything you just explained about the New York Times bestseller list and how many books you got to sell to be on it. Most of what I know about the business, I know from you talking about your book, and you explain how a lot of people say that their book is a bestseller, but they're only selling it on their website. So it's almost like it's not being, regardless of how many sales they got, it's not being, registered. If I'm understanding it right.
That's right.
So,
and by the way, for a self-published book, and all of Derrick's books have been self-published. So for all of Derrick's books that are self-published, including Don't Forget Your Crown, I own a copy. And I'll go on the record and say right now, by the way, the best thing about the book, Don't Forget Your Crown, is the cover. I mean, he's very photogenic. And I strongly suspect the ladies know that too. Just making an observation. Nevertheless, moving right along, yes, it's based on a number of metrics. And the other thing is, it's very difficult to get information, to get sales data objectively on self-published books. Very hard to get. So we just don't have any way to determine objectively what Derrick Jaxn's book sales are, to make the determination that's the bestseller against who? Based on what metric? And if it's a bestseller, why are you doing it? Why are you selling them at 50% off and pressing the case in every video that you make?
Yeah, with that, I don't know. And a part of me don't care. It's just funny if after every video is I'm extending the 50% off sale. It just has a ring of it's just funny. I'm getting a laugh out of it.
I mean, yeah, I'm just asking questions. That's all. I'm not saying the man doesn't have a right to make a living. He does. I'm not saying that he doesn't work hard at what he does. He does. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, but be that as it may, regardless, I mean, anybody who's halfway decent at looking at numbers and he's extremely successful. So rather not his book is doing well, let's just say the book completely flopped and all of his fans have just said, look, nigga, we tired of your books. Just post some more pictures on Facebook and the gram with your shirt off. We ain't buying no more books. We bought the mentally stimulate me card games. We ain't doing that. We just watching videos and getting mentally massaged and hearing what we want to hear with some occasional oiled up pictures with your shirt off. That's all we doing. But if that's the case, then to that I still say, oh well.
He doesn't have the sweaty, oily, shirtless pictures now.
Oh, come on.
Really? He does?
I ain't getting into that, man.
Oh shit.
I ain't getting into that. But let's just say if that's all he
oily pictures.
Let's just just when you follow him on Facebook, never mind. Just go and like his Facebook page. And occasionally he'll post those, I don't even know how it works because I don't do it, but you know how you can like post something to your story and it stay up for I think 12 hours.
Gotcha.
He'll post something a little, a little sexually provocative that's only going to be there for a short period of time. It's only going to be there for a short period of time.
I've always said that Derrick is kind of like, I'm not going to say wasting his talent, but I'll say he kind of missed his calling, because what he should do is just chuck these relationship advice books and just remember the like the hot fireman calendar and that sort of thing. Remember that? He should just do a Derrick Jaxn calendar or a Derrick Jaxn picture book, with just a whole bunch of pictures of him in sexually provocative poses that women really like. I'm telling you, now that will be a bestseller.
He posts pictures like that, and I don't really care. I mean, that's not the thing. That's why I'm like, is he giving good advice or bad advice? That's what I care about. What he do to reel them in?
Don't give a shit about their. Listen, look. Listen, I know firsthand. Black women don't give a shit about what he's saying.
I know that, but that's what I'm doing. That's where I'm at with it. He can sell the book or not sell the book. He can just advertise shirtless pics or not. I'm just analyzing the words coming out of his mouth. That's where I'm at with it. It's
Derrick is not obeying the first rule of business. the customer is always right. You got to give them what they want. They want to see that big, sweaty mandingo, all that, get my echo, all that masculine energy. That's what they want. That's what they want to see. They want to see all of that.
Yeah.
So what he needs to do is when he go to the gym and he doing all that pumping and grunting and all the rest of it and lifting all that heavy weight and he all sweaty and all the rest of it, take a picture of that, add that to the book.
I have no idea if that's in his book, but I do know he puts that on his on his social media. Okay. Maybe in hopes that will, provoke them to buy the book.
I'm telling you, that will work. He needs to make a picture pop-up book for these broads. All sweaty and all the rest of it. That will sell like hot. Believe me, he won't be up there talking about you can buy it for 50% off. Those black women will pay top dollar for that. Believe it.
But for what it's worth, he has said in a live stream, he did a live stream. This was a while ago. This was I don't know, it might have been a year and a half ago. He said that his Mentally Stimulate Me card game, he said he sold well over 100,000 of them. I think he said 150,000 of them. And you could do the math on that. I mean, so he's made over 2 million in sales. And I don't know what the overhead was on that. I can imagine it's not that high. So at the end of the day, the man is extremely successful. And if we're talking about whether or not he's successful, it's no debate there. He's extremely successful. But it's just funny at the end of each video, I'm extending the 50% off sale for 2 more days. But then you look at the timeline in the videos, I'm like, this sale been going for like 2 months now. It's funny. I just get a laugh at it.
Yeah. I mean, it is funny because you're like, wait a minute, didn't you? This is like the second or third time you extended it, but okay.
No.
I get it. It's the coronavirus pandemic. A lot of sisters' finances looking a little shady. Okay, fine, whatever. I get it. You should just have a coronavirus sale.
The coronavirus sale. I don't know.
Yeah, everything 50% off. Coronavirus sale.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I'd imagine some people doing that.
Now I do have another product that might help Derrick out.
Oh shit.
And we're gonna produce that spot probably this week or this weekend. And we've been testing it out in the lab here at the R&D lab here at Obsidian Radio Central. And I want to give everybody a little preview of it right now. It's called the Derrick Jaxn Limited Edition Jumbo-Sized Yanni Egg.
Come on.
Yeah. Jumbo-sized. Because sisters love that girth. They like that size. They like that. And, you could work it out with the Yanni egg there. And it's got Derrick Jaxn's signature on it. The whole bit. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. You get that up.
Man. Oh, man. So I think this video is done. He already did the 50% off.
Whenever you see this.
So.
But moral of the story is this. If you're not willing to make a man respect your absence, it's only because you don't respect your absence. Or you don't know how much power your absence has for a man that truly loves you. And if you don't know that, can't nobody help you. But
all right, yeah, he's just doing more. Just close it out by speaking in parables and metaphors, and I don't know. All right, this is the last one. This is the last one. This is, oh man, this has been fun. This will be the 5th one, and you know what'll be fun, and we could do this. We can every when he dropped 5 new videos, we just gonna come in and analyze the next 5 videos. We gonna call it
that would be good.
We're gonna call it the Jaxn 5. We're gonna analyze the next 5 Derrick Jaxn videos. So we probably weekly or bare minimum or at the most bi-weekly, we'll do a Jaxn 5 show where we analyze the last 5 Derrick Jaxn videos. Yeah, we can etch that in stone because this was a good one, and the audience been staying strong. We've been well over 200 each, well over 200 for most of the day. Over 220, 230. definitely a good turnout. So my audience appears to enjoy this. So if they like it, we're gonna get a people what they want. We're gonna get a people what they want. So there's that.
Yeah, I like that idea. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, we're gonna cut that spot this week.
I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story, man.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. We cutting that spot when we do the Jackson 5 Part 2. That's gonna be good. Because it's funny because I used to, you don't really have to cherry pick his videos. You can just go at random. But I used to cherry pick the ones where he really said some bullshit. But that just speaks volume to the amount of nonsense that he's saying. If you can just take his last 5. And he's only speaking for 4 minutes at a time. So it's hard to pack in that much shit to even discuss.
You ever see a movie called Full Metal Jacket?
I know about that movie, never watched it all the way through, but I've seen it in bits and pieces, so you might have to refresh me.
So there's a character in the movie called Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, right? Drill instructor, right? So at Paris Island, right? And he inspects all the new recruits in the Marine Corps, right? And he goes down the line and he gets to, Gomer Pyle, right? He calls him Gomer Pyle. And he asks him how tall Gomer Pyle is, and he tells him, he said, I didn't know they stack shit that high. And Derrick is 6'5". So I'll let you fill in the blank.
Right on. All right, this is the last one we're gonna do because this has been good. This has been good. But so okay, here we go. I'm gonna roll the tape on this one.
Team Jackson, what's happening? So I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story, man. I just got off the phone with one of my old teammates from college. He hit me up because he saw my video where I said, if you can't quarantine together, then y'all probably shouldn't be together. And I guess it hit different because he's currently stuck in the house with his woman and he's stressed out. He's talking about, oh, what I'm saying? She took away the peace. That ain't peaceful. Da. So I asked him, I said, okay, she's taking away the peace. She's stressing you out. But has it always been like that? Has she always been like that? He was like, no. I said, you think she love you? He said, absolutely, man. I know she loved me. I know ain't nobody else, nothing like that. I said, okay, cool. Do you think she's healed? Or is it something that she's still trying to get over that you done did? Or, maybe from her ex? He was like, no, none of that, man. Fully healed, all of that stuff. And she loved me. I said, okay, cool. Then the problem ain't necessarily her. 9 times out of 10 is not going to be her because it's very rare to.
All right, got to call bullshit. We're going to see what he say the problem is. But I got to call bullshit right there because, I called this from the start when people started quarantining together. I said it's going to be a lot of men who don't live with their woman, but when both of their jobs and shut down, they quarantine. They're not about to be going back and forth from house to house and all out and about. They're going to pick one house. They're going to stay at their house. It's going to be their first time essentially de facto living together. And I said that's when a lot of men is going to find out that woman is actually an unbearable bitch. I said that's what this quarantine is going to show men, that woman that you with, that when y'all got a work schedule, when y'all getting together between 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. and then part ways, or y'all spend a night here and there, or y'all busy and working and got shit going on during the week, but y'all spend little weekends together. Yeah, that's cool. Y'all can be happy, joy during those little weekends or that little bit of time after work, but not at this quarantine and y'all together 24/7. You finding out that she's an unbearable bitch that you can't deal with and live with right now. And it sounds like that's what this guy is saying to Derrick Jaxn. But no, it can't be her fault. It got to be something that you doing, because it's not possible that a woman could be over her previous relationship and you ain't done nothing wrong. She just got bad character and conduct herself in a way that's not conducive to a happy, healthy, functioning relationship. Even though those same type of women that he's turned around and said, well, the right type of guy, the right, he's going to know how to deal with her and deal with that woman that's hard to love. So he admitted that they hard to love, admitted that they hard to be with. But when a guy is saying, okay, now that I'm actually with this woman and we locked down together, she's turned into a bitch on me. Oh, no. It's something you not doing, because you just can't just say, okay, yeah, that woman, yeah, you finding out who she really is, you seeing her true colors, red flags, Get the hell out of there. Get out of there. Get to the chopper. You just can't tell the dude that. No. You can't tell. You can't
Schwarzenegger. Arnold. Oh shit! Not the Arnold. Get also there. Get to the chopper.
He can't just tell her that. Tell him that. Oh man. But all right, let's see what he came up with. Let's find out why it's the man's fault that when he finally quarantined and finally lived with this woman, he found out that she's unbearable. Let's see what it really is. Let's see how he Scooby-Doo detective kitted this. Okay,
let it be her. 9 times out of 10 is not going to be her, because it's very rare that a woman loves you and she's fully healed but incapable of bringing peace or keeping the peace in the household. 9 times out of 10, if she's healed and she loves you but she's not bringing peace, it's because she's confused about something. Now, in football terms, and a lot of guys will be able to relate to this, our coach used to tell us confused feet are slow feet. And in any sport, if you slow, that means you're basically not being your best. So a lot of guys who are with a woman, if they're like, oh, she's stressing me, she's not at her best, she can't even put her energy into being her best because her energy is currently allocated towards trying to figure something out that she's confused about. And all the shit that she was supposed to be figuring out should have been done in the courtship phase, in the dating phase. That's whenever a woman, is typically a little bit slower, not her best. She's not putting her all into it. She's not doing all of what they call wife benefits or husband benefits. She's not doing all of that shit because she's still trying to figure out who is she dealing with. But that's whenever you make that clear to her, hey, this is who I am, this is what type of time I'm on. And then whenever she gets in a relationship, naturally a woman wants to be able to go full speed, be her full self, green light, do it all. So if she stops doing that, or she starts slowing down, or she starts taking the peace away, asking questions, pressing you about, okay, who is you really texting? Who is that you really press decline on just because we sitting here and put the phone back face down? Why is it that you really been coming home with a limp dick, half hard dick, and we ain't had sex in 3 or 4 days? Why is it really that you get yours and turn over when in the beginning you try to go 2-3 rounds, do whatever? Like, what's really going on? When she starts pressing you and doing all those things that we characterize as taking our peace away and stressing us out, it's probably because she's confused about something. So you need to.
All right. So that was his Sherlock Holmes work right there. This woman who's not bringing this guy peace, it's because it's shit that he's doing. But the shit that he said that this guy is doing is, but if you follow this logic here, basically he's saying that this dude is coming to him, one of his own boys, I think, yo, D, man, I'm trying to figure out why she ain't bringing. Why I ain't got no peace in this house with her? Yeah. I come home smelling like new pussy, but I just want to figure out why there's no peace. And no dude came to him seeking advice on how to come home with smelling like new pussy and still have peace in the house. So he just leaped to the extreme that this guy is doing the most reckless behavior ever, and that's why it's not peace. As if a man who's doing that shit understands exactly why there's no peace. So I feel like, no, more than likely, if a guy is saying that this woman is not bringing peace, this woman is bringing just utter agony, just an argumentative, combative, disrespectful, out-of-pocket woman. She's around me during this quarantine. We've been together, stuck in the house, not working, 24/7 with each other, and she's being a bitch. Chances are that's just what's going on, and she's being a bitch, because a guy who knows he's out cheating is not about to be seeking out counseling. I'm confused as to why she's upset about me smelling like new pussy when I come home. It's like, no. He's reaching on this one because he knows that it's becoming a problem that a lot of guys are having because they're in a situation where they're forced to actually be with that woman for real. You got any thoughts on that, Obsidian? Obsidian.
Yeah, I had to take a call. My bad. In fairness, let me answer Nasir Barnes. He says, why won't old man beat down his YouTube door, and confront dude Derrick Jaxn? Pathetic. What should I confront him about?
Yeah.
What am I confronting him about? I would love to have a sit-down conversation with the guy, sure. We could do a podcast and chop it up. I mean, I don't see why not, because See, we've just analyzed 2 videos where the central figure was the guy, the black man. Both of these guys, there was one younger brother that he knew, kind of took him under his wing, right? And then now he's got a homie. So I've always said that Jaxn understands that you can't, there's an old Buddhist saying, what's the sound of one hand clapping? And Jaxn understands this. He's got to bring brothers in. But the trick is this going to work? Now, if Nasir Barnes is anything to go by, the answer is no. At some point, he will have to contend with the black manosphere, which means me. Now, we can do it today, or we can do it 10 years from now. Either way works for me. I'm a very patient man, Nasir. I am a very patient man. So I got plenty of time to wait. His program of love relationships cannot work without black men. It can't. And this is where all the brothers are. I know for a fact the brothers ain't over where Derrick is. I know for a fact that's true. Because I went on a fact-finding mission last year. You can count the number of brothers in the room on one hand. So my question, Miss L. Boyd, is where is he going to get the brothers from? For all you sisters, where's he going to get the brothers from? Where they going to come from? He's going to conjure them up out of thin air? None come through the Father but by me. So I can wait.
I do not understand what is everyone's obsession with whether or not Derrick Jaxn is going to respond to you. Like
I do. I understand it because let's face it, I'm making some damn good points.
Yeah, but your points are right or wrong on their merit, not on whether or not Derrick Jaxn responds. I mean, that's.
Well, I understand where you're coming from, but people understand deep down that something don't add up with this guy, and they want to see his shit tested in real time. I get it.
Yeah.
They want to see it tested in real time. And the only way to do that is to come and talk to a good brother like me.
Right on. Let's see.
If you notice throughout this discussion that we've had about Derrick's work here, notice I haven't gone in on black women. Not only haven't I gone in on black women, I haven't even gone in on Derrick's take on black women. If you notice that, if you go back and run back the tape, I haven't done that. All I've done is put additional questions on the table that engender a real conversation. And see, I've noticed Derrick isn't very good at conversation. Derrick is very good at short. You know what Derrick is? Derrick is excellent, and he would know about this playing football. Derrick is excellent at the 40-yard dash. You get a quick burst of speed. See, I'm more like a marathon runner. I'm more like which I actually did do some cross country running, but in my younger years, I'm more like that. By definition, I do long form content. By definition, I talk to people over the course of hours a day. We've been on now for 3 hours. So I have to be good at conversation to do that, to be able to make my daily bread at it. I have to be good. I have to have a good mouthpiece by definition. I've noticed with Derrick that he's real good in situations that don't call for a lot of direct interaction over time. He's best making short burst statements. And, you know, that works in the short term, you know, but in the long term, things get interesting. And all throughout today's discussion, I haven't attacked him. I haven't attacked black women. I just raised questions. Questions that engender a real conversation. See, my position is this: be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. Derrick himself says, and again, Roommates Podcast, July 2019. I don't know the specific date. You can search for it. Roommates Podcast, July 2019, YouTube. You'll see it. You'll find it. Or Google the Roommates Podcast, Derrick Jaxn. Boom. He says in that interview, very rare for him to do an interview. Like, I've done a whole lot of interviews. I'm always doing interviews and appearing on different platforms and whatnot. Very rare for Derrick to do that. And you have to ask why. And it could be a legitimate reason for it. I'm just saying. He says in the interview with the Roommates Podcast, July 2019, that he wanted to engender a conversation. My response to Mr. Jaxn is message received. Let's do this. You can't be mad when people show up to your invitation. You can't then say, well, I don't want you showing up. I want that person to show up. When you pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud.
All right, let's see. Haven't been reminding y'all to get the likes up. So we had 196 people watching, 104 likes. This is normally about the time in the show where the likes start catching up with the views. So let's get the likes up. Let me see a few people hit that like button while we at it. Saw one person hit it. So let me see. Let's get these likes up. Okay, a few more people hitting that like button. Should have been reminding y'all gradually throughout the show because the likes are not looking good. But yeah, let's get back into this one. But I did want to respond. Somebody said something. Who was that? Forgot her name. Somebody said, why care? I don't know. Well, I asked her what does she mean by that. So I'll wait to see if she explains exactly what she means. I think she was saying why care. I think she meant why care what Derrick Jaxn has to say. That was another person pretending to not understand that this is essentially a talk show where we talk, and part of what we do is analyze Black America as it pertains to dating, mating, interactions between Black men and Black women. And this is somebody who's essentially in the same business, and we're analyzing whether what he says is right or wrong. Is he giving good advice or bad advice? So it just annoys the hell out of me when people pretend to not understand the concept of a live show having a discussion about it. All right, I'm through with that. All right. Let's go. We got 2 minutes and about 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in this. So let's play it out.
Stop asking necessarily like, oh, what's wrong with her? And start asking, why might she be confused? Because it's probably going to be confused about your intentions, confused about your priorities, confused about her place in your life, or confused about y'all direction as a couple. And no woman can bring peace to that. Why? Because no woman can have peace in that. So yeah, she's going to be stressing you the fuck out. Now,
real quick, you hear the subtle implication, not even subtle implication, the implication that a woman is only going to bring a lack of peace is if there's something you're doing, he talks as if the natural zero state of most women is to be genuinely good women and fair, reasonable, sound-minded reciprocators.
Yeah. And this is the reason why, because I did see the comment. Sorry for my mic messing up. I got to get another mic. I need $200 to get another mic. Hashtag, $ Obsidian Radio Cash App. Thank you. All right. So here's my thing. I think the reason why he's starting to slowly get more and more pushback is precisely what you said, Bernie. There's the very real perception of Derrick not being even-handed, of Derrick not being a fair arbiter between black men and black women, which is ironic because that's the charge that the black manosphere is tagged with by black women and some black men. Of course, Black Vagina Vision Media is not held to that same standard. So yeah, there's that. But on top of that, I'll say this. In that this is his homie and he knows his homie a lot better than I do. And his homie, fucked up. I really don't have a whole lot to say about that because, I mean, if you fuck up, hey, you bought that. So you got to deal with whatever comes if you want to stick around in there.
Well, the homie never confessed to fucking up. And he didn't say for sure that the homie fucked up. The only thing that the homie did was said that now that I'm quarantining, essentially living with this woman, she is just bringing me hell. And then he just starts speaking in general, saying, guys, if that woman is bringing you hell, she can't bring peace to your confusion because you doing all kind of confusing shit. You coming home smelling like pussy. You're doing this. You're doing that. He just basically saying the only way a woman is going to act up is if you're doing something wrong, as if there's no such thing as a guy, as a woman just having bad character as it pertains to.
And we know that's true. We know that's not true. We know that's true. We know that Derrick is leaving out. See the problem that the personal problem I have with Derrick doesn't want to admit that you got bad people who just happen to be black women.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to allow for that. And I get the reason why, or I can speculate as for the reason why. See, like, nobody denies that you got bad black men. But it's very difficult and I can speculate as to why it is for him, because he grew up in a single mom-led home and all that entails. But I have no qualms about the fact that there are black women who do bad things. And there are black women who are bad people. Just like I have no qualms about saying there are black men who do bad things. And there are black men who are bad people. See, if you can't bring yourself to plainly say that, then not only are you not truly free, you can't really be a force for good for black people. That's where I'm at with it. And that's the single biggest problem I have with Derrick. If you can't bring yourself to simply say, look, there's some sisters who are just not good people, man. As harsh as that may sound, it's the truth. If you can't just simply and plainly say that, then you're not truly free. As a black American, you're not truly free.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. Let's see. Let's get these likes up still, fellas. All right. Let's get back to the tape.
I ain't gonna just focus on the negative. There is a solution. Here it is. It's a two-step process. First off, you just need to make a verbal expression of what it is. Secondly, you need to make a physical confirmation of whatever it is that you verbally express. So the verbal expression that I told them, like, you need to sit her ass down and tell her, look, I don't know where your head is at. I don't know what you've received from my actions lately or throughout the relationship, but these are my intentions. This is where my heart is. This is where my mind is. This is where my loyalty lies. This is where my physical body lies. I'm letting you know now, just in case you had any type of question, suspicion, confusion, this is what it is. And again, secondly, have a physical confirmation to follow that up. And every single day that you do that consistently, you're going to kill the confusion little by little. And as you kill that confusion, you're going to know that she's going to restore that peace. Now, once you restore the piece, you can't just leave it at that, because most people will take 6 steps back and they just took 3 steps forward. You got to protect it. I say protect it with a relationship membrane. I explain that concept in one of my chapters of my book, Don't Forget Your Crown. And I just brought back the 50% off sale, so get it at the link.
You know what? I need to get all these videos and just string together the parts where he makes his pitch. I need to do that.
Oh man. Notice I just brought it back. Hold on. Wait a minute. We got to cheat a little bit, because if I'm not mistaken, okay, that the first video we watched was from yesterday. Let's go all the way back. Let's say, where is it? 7, 8, 9. Let's see. How many videos I'm going to go back? How many videos am I going to go back? Because I think this new 50% off sale that he just started. Oh yeah, that's why I was looking. That's why I wasn't recognizing the videos. Okay, I had it on the wrong part. Okay. So we got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. That's all the way back to March 28th.
The real gods are coming.
So,
Team Jackson, what's happening? Evolved men find highly attractive in women, then click the he's so hyper masculine. I'm an evolved man, and what evolved men find highly attractive in women, then click the link down in the caption and get my book, Don't Forget Your Crown, because I go in full detail and it's 50% off right now. But the moral of the story is this: whatever it is that you want,
you know what? Send me all the videos. I need you to send me as many, because I know you've done your research on it. I haven't. Contrary to popular opinion, I don't really go, and it's nothing personal. I don't really mess around with Derrick Jaxn's YouTube channel or social media like that, unless someone brings it to my attention. Then I'll go and check it out. But otherwise, I just don't have the time to be doing that. So apparently, Bernie, you do. I don't know what that says about you, but nevertheless, could you take all the videos that you've seen thus far where he's hawking his 50% off on Don't Forget Your Crown and send them to me? I'd love to do a little mashup in my control room and put together a little something. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That might be tedious. I'm trying to think of I think I know a fast way I could do it. Basically, yeah, I could probably put that together. But he's it's like every time he said like it's the first time, like, hey, I got this new 50% off deal. It's like, this is going back a whole month.
Oh, he's been doing this all month.
This video is marked. Hold on, let me zoom in for people. God damn it. Hold on. Get it right. All right, let's.
Now my dark, twisted, demented mind has just thought up another ad, and it's going to be in support of our good brother Derrick Jaxn during this time of the coronavirus. He needs to sell his book. So you send me those videos, and I'll get right on it, Bernie.
Yeah, so this is almost a clean month ago. This limited time 50% off sale. All right. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna back up. We're gonna finish the last one we were watching, and that's where we're gonna wrap it up. I don't know beyond that one on March 28th, because we closing in on April 28th. So I don't know beyond the everything that you're seeing here. If you can see my screen, I have no idea if he had the new exciting 50% off sale going on beyond before March 28th. But either way, that's some funny shit. I mean, the man's a businessman. He makes his money. He does his thing. Hey, not knocking that, but the shit is funny. How every time the cell just seems brand new, like the first.
Yeah, it's never. You know what? I just got the music for it too. I just got. You know, let me write this down. Yeah, send me the videos. I know it's going to be a bit tedious, but send me the videos. I need about half a dozen of them.
Yeah, I probably can do that. The quick method I'm going to do, I'm just going to screen record and then just watch the videos like we're doing here, and then just skip to the part, and then just go to the next one and skip to the part, go to the next one, skip to the part. Then you would have to
be perfect.
You would have to just do your editing magic from there. So I can send you everything recorded, and then I can send you what you need, and I just figured out a time efficient way to get it done to where I'm not spending all day with it. But so we'll get that rolling, because this shit is funny. But we got to finish this video. We're gonna let's finish this video. God damn. All right, we got to watch another ad.
To infinity and beyond.
Quick story, man. I just got off the phone with one of my old.
Come on.
Where I said, if you can't quarantine together, then y'all probably shouldn't be together. And I guess it hit different because he's currently, she be confused. Because it's probably going to be confused about your intentions, confused about your priorities, confused about her place in your life, or confused about y'all direction as a couple. And no woman can bring peace to that. Why? Because no woman can have peace in that. And secondly, have a physical confirmation to follow that up. And every single day that you do that consistently, you're going to kill the confusion little by little.
Okay, for those that remember where we was at with this, he had actually kind of gave some good advice that applies to if a woman is, a decent chick, but just have some problem, she just wondering about some things, and she's approaching the conversation in a healthy way. And what he explained is a healthy way that people in a relationship could talk it out if shit is normal. But if the guy said that this chick is not bringing me peace, but the guy didn't say he was cheating, and he didn't say, Derrick Jaxn didn't say that he knew his guy was cheating, so he just leaped to that. He leaped to that the chick is the only way, basically saying the only way a chick going to not, going to take, excuse me, the only way a chick going to take away from your peace is if you're doing something blatantly, obviously wrong. But then he went and gave some what could be perceived as normal relationship advice. But then he went to the extreme.
But see, let me turn it around, because I don't want to make it look like I'm just beating up on Derrick. Let me turn it around. So let's assume that we're right. Sometimes the sister could just be a bitch, man. I mean, there are black women out there in this world that are that way. But see, here's the trick with that. Now we got to turn it around on the brothers, bro. Why are you with a bitch? See, now we got to look at that.
But in this scenario, he found out she was a bitch when they finally started living together in quarantine.
Right. So my position is, okay, she's a bitch and you chose a bitch. You need to find out why you choose bitches. That's number one. And number two, you have to be much better at sniffing them out before you get to the point of living with them.
Agreed. But
see, if Derrick says that will make his, core audience very upset. Even though what I just said is the quintessence of accountability for black men, is it not? But see, I use that word bitch, and I use the argument that not all black women are helpless, meek little mild victims. And see, that's something that a lot of his audience can't take. And this is the reason why I said he's not giving good advice or bad advice. He's giving black women a fantasy. And look, as far as fantasies go, there's nothing wrong with it. We all have a place for fantasy in our life. The problem with so many black women is that they don't know. I'm a big Star Trek guy. Trekker. On the Star Trek The Next Generation, some people may remember this, there was a character named Reg in Starfleet. And his specialty was holodeck technology. That was his specialty. He was really good at it. But he developed an addiction to the holodeck. He couldn't separate reality from the created reality of the holodeck. See, a lot of black women they're addicted to hollow dick. Like Reg was addicted to the hollow deck. A lot of black women are addicted to the hollow dick. They can't separate their addiction from the hollow dick from the real world. And that's my problem with Derrick. I don't have a problem with him selling women to fantasy. Idris Elba sells women to fantasy, black women to fantasy. You don't hear me going after him. Bars Cujo sell black women to fantasy. You don't hear me going after him. I go after Derrick for one reason, because whereas these guys, it's a fantasy. These guys just, do a movie or they do a TV show or whatever, and that's just it.
They're actors by job title. So
right.
Yeah.
But with Derrick, he's actually selling these broads on the idea that this shit can be real. And no, it can't. No, it can't. That's my problem. We got to have an injection of reality in here. And I know it's harsh. It's going to hurt. I'm sorry, ladies. Many of you are not as grand and great as you think. That doesn't mean that you're bad people. Doesn't mean that you're evil. You're just not all that. And it's okay. Life will go on. The sun will rise tomorrow. That's all it means.
All right. Let's get back to the tape.
Little. And as you kill that confusion, you're going to know that she's going to restore that peace. Now, once you restore the peace, you can't just leave it at that, because most people would take 6 steps back and they just took 3 steps forward. You got to protect it. I say protect it with a relationship membrane. I explain that concept in one of my chapters of my book, Don't Forget Your Crown. And I just brought back the 50% off sale, so get it at the link in the caption if you haven't yet.
Again.
Moral of the story is this. Peace is a package deal, especially coming from a man's standpoint. Peace is a package deal, man.
Go ahead.
It's got to
include package deal. So go ahead and plug it one more time, Derrick. Package deal. And by the way, did I tell you that you can get a whole box of my books for 50% off? You can get a whole carton of them. You get a baker's dozen of my book. Don't Forget Your Crown. 13 copies, ladies. 50% off. You can get it right now.
Are you saying he's going to be selling his books buy 1, get 6 free?
By the way, did I just tell you that you could get a whole trunk full of my books? Don't Forget Your Crown for selling 70% off. Did I just tell you that? A whole trunk full of my book, the bestseller, Don't Forget Your Crown, 70% off. Get a whole trunk full of. Did I tell you that?
Just like the video and I just mail it to you for free. I'm just trying to get rid of these things.
That's right. By the way, somebody said get rid of something. By the way, did I just tell you I had a whole storage locker full of my best-selling book, Don't Forget Your Crown, 20 it's on sale for 75% off. I got a whole bunch of them in a storage locker. Up to the roof.
I'm starting to get the feeling he's got a big ass warehouse. Like he thought the book was going to do much better than what it did. So he got like 100,000 of them printed.
Yeah.
Like, please just take these damn books off my hand.
Buy 1, get 15 free. You remember Joseph A. Bank? Remember they used to do that? You say you get 1 suit, you get 3 free, or you buy a shirt, you get like 5 shirts free. Move over there, Joseph A. Bank. Here comes Derrick Jaxn. Buy my book, Don't Forget Your Crown, and get 45 books free.
Oh shit. I said I wasn't gonna get into that. I was just gonna analyze the merits of the points that he's making, and you done dragged me into some fuckery.
I remember I used to hear that commercial, Joseph A. Bank. And I'd be like, man, and I'd be like, oh, what a bargain. You buy 1 suit, you get 2, 3. What a deal. I know a lot of sisters be sitting there like, girl, I got to go get that shit. What a bargain. 50% off, and I get like 20 books for 50% off. What a bargain. Girl, let me go over there, Earl that. You know how black women talk. Yes, 50% off. Yeah. You know what? I gotta write that down. That's going to be the Derrick Jaxn. Yes. Let me think about this. Derrick Jaxn. I got it. The Derrick Jaxn. It always sounds better with the echo box. Let me try it with the echo box. The Derrick Jaxn coronavirus. Yes. Sale. What do you think?
Man, let me get through with this damn thing. I got to get through with this shit. I'm about done. This shit. Yeah, DW, you got Obsidian is petty as fuck, and he didn't drag me into some petty shit. Got me imagining, Will Smith in Pursuit of Happiness, how he was having a real hard time selling them bone marrow density.
Yeah, that could work though. That could work. I mean, jingles just come naturally to me. So I mean, I'm always thinking of like jingles and shit like that. So that could work. That concept could work, and then I could get the mashup of his actual voice. Doing the mashup where he's parking the books. So I could put it all together and make it. I already got my instrumental track that I'm going to use. You're going to love it. I'm not even going to say what it is. I want to take people by surprise. We could make this work.
All right. Shit.
Include clarity. It's got to include a plan. It's got to include that stuff, man. So if you feel like what the piece ain't right in your house, check the contents of the package. If you got some uncertainty in there, if you got some inconsistency in there, if you got some half-assed, mediocre loving and efforts in there, yeah, that's the problem, not your woman. But those are just my thoughts. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. And again, don't forget your crown is back on 50% off sale, but only for a limited time at the link in the
Yeah. Damn. All right. That's the last one. I am curious. Okay. I am curious how long he been pushing the 50% off. I'm just going to try one. 6 reasons she lost all respect for you. We ain't watching this video. We ain't analyzing
One of the great
this
challenges
video.
in this world is knowing enough about a subject to think you're right.
Team Jackson, what's happening?
We are just skipping to the
Yesterday, I was
end.
looking through one of my old posts where you didn't, even though she was pregnant, like even though you may have been a certain type of person before she got pregnant, if you continued to be that, despite her carrying your child, that woman will lose respect for you, and there's no coming back from that. Now, of course, we don't want to just make it our goal to simply not lose a woman's respect. We want to make it our goal to first be a man that deserves respect, and then 2, make sure that's properly communicated so we can get treated like the king that we are. Now, if you want that full list, I go in full detail in my book, Don't Forget Your Crown, and that's at the link in the caption. It's 50% off right now. But the moral of the
How long has the book been 50% off?
It might have been. It might have gone as far back as earlier this year, like January. He might have brought in a new year with the 50% off sale.
Yeah, man. That's where am I at? Where am I at? I'm on the wrong page. Okay. Okay, so I'm all the way down here. What did that one say? That was, I think, March 21st.
He's been at it for over a month.
Yeah, well over a month. I'm gonna go. Okay. I doubt. Okay, I'm skipping all the way down here.
You gotta take it back to like January.
Team Jackson, what's happening? I was just off, but the moral of the story is this: to all my guys out there, I'll just speak as a man. To all of my guys out there,
let me make sure.
Hypocrite, because I actually have talked about it and written about it in my book, Don't Forget Your Crown. I got a whole chapter called The 5 Phases of No Return that can help prevent you from getting to this point. So click the link in the caption to get it 50% off. But the moral.
That's March 5th.
Uh-oh. We're getting closer. Yes.
He had to be 50% off in Black History Month. So.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Yeah, you changed, but it's too late. Okay, so we're gonna go. Let's go all the way down here. Let's see where we at.
$25,000 to the girl who lets me shave her head.
I like this guy.
Team Jackson, what's happening? So, just talk to my home. Get with it, and the weaker those thoughts go, trying to piece together and craft together that perfect thing that's going to make them understand, whether it's the words to say to them, whether it's the words you wish their mama or their best friend say to them, whether it's the situation you hope they run into with the next person. Those thoughts get weaker, they become less frequent, and therefore they lose power, because the longer you keep hope alive about them understanding how they did you or whatever the understanding is, the longer you're going to keep that pain alive whenever you realize you have no control over that. So y'all let me know what you think in the comments. And if the person that you're trying to get over is a narcissist, I highly advise you to click the link in my caption before the free training on how to deal with a narcissist comes down. Holla at y'all later. Peace.
All right. So we do know February 10th, the 50% off sale was not in effect. Unless he said it earlier in the video. We don't know. I will find the first time when I send you the what you asked me to send you.
I have a dozen of them, man. I'm going to string them all together, and we're gonna have some fun, because I'm gonna take a bit of today's show and take some highlights from today's show and put that together with a special ad just for Derrick. We're gonna have some fun.
Yeah,
you know how I do. We're gonna have some fun with it.
Oh yeah. But guys, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up the show today. And this was a great show. We picked apart 5 Derrick Jaxn videos. I just went from his most recent video and worked my way backwards. And we're gonna do that again however long it take, whether it take 1 week or 2 weeks. When he dropped 5 more videos, we're gonna do the same thing. Gonna call it the Jaxn 5, where we just break down the last 5 Derrick Jaxn videos. And I'm going to try. I know Obsidian not going to try, but I'm going to try not to be clowning him that much and just picking apart the merits of his points. But I got the feeling by the next time we do this, Obsidian going to have a whole ain't no hope. Obsidian going to have a whole montage ready to go. It's as much as I want to just keep it on the merits, Obsidian gonna drag me into some fuckery. I already know. God damn. It's gonna be good though. We're gonna do the Jackson. I want
to thank you for this, man. This was a lot of fun. And and in all seriousness, I really do hope that this engenders a conversation for all of us. Mm-hmm. I think that, I try to be an optimist in life, and I try to look at the good side of everybody, believe it or not. And I think if there's a good thing to come out of what Derrick is doing here, is that we all get a chance to have a meaningful conversation about, dating and mating issues in Black American society. Very important. And I think that that's a good thing that Derrick is doing. That strangely enough, believe it or not, I think it's a good thing that he's, starting a real conversation. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. I'm all for the conversation. I like the debate. I like the back and forth. The only thing I don't like is the disingenuous people that make arguments that essentially amount to, I don't like what y'all are saying. Could y'all just stop saying it? That's what I felt like.
Yeah. Well, you're doing your job. If you get a good bit of butthurt, then that means you're doing a job.
That's what GA Boy and a lot of the women that came into the chat said. But some women that came in here that we haven't seen in here. Maybe they subscribed.
Maybe.
So maybe they'll be back.
What we really need is a show where we just have the ladies come on up, and because we need some fresh meat. We need some sacrificial lambs in here.
Mm-hmm.
Slaughter. So ladies, if you're so inclined to join us on the air, please let Bernie know. You can contact him. We'll set it up. We'd love to line up a panel of you ladies that we can just mow down right quick.
Mow them down. All right. That's it. That's gonna wrap up the show. This was a good one. I definitely enjoyed the Jaxn 5 episode 1. That's what I'm calling it. But all right, yeah. Peace. We will see. Today's Thursday, so we will see tomorrow. I don't know what the topic will be. I'll come up with something and bring it to you live and direct. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Peace.